Hello to those of you on the live stream. Just to welcome you back to the racing. For some reason, the YouTube cut out. Just the connection dropped for whatever reason. So apologies for that. But we are back racing. We're most of the way through the second heats now with the 177 and 177 Masters, which hopefully you should be seeing on your screen. It's currently Sam Winter who leads the way. But once again, apologies for that. Hopefully that issue will be sorted for the rest of the day, so we can continue live streaming and you can continue to hopefully enjoy listening to the races at home or wherever you may be. So back resuming with racing. Sam Winter leading the way, Samuel Dix in second position, Ian Brown in third for the 177 and the 177 Masters. Just got a lot brighter on the circuit though, and suddenly the sun is very much coming out. There was never any hint of wet tyre weather out here today anyway, but that will mean that there is a little bit more heat in the tyres with the sun coming out. It does look like it's hiding behind a cloud once again though, but certainly not too bad weather here at Clay Pigeon. We've been quite fortunate with that throughout the year. Touch wood, it will remain the same. Can cause an awful lot of problems in terms of setup and strategy with not being aware what tyres you should be putting on. But in these summer months now, you suspect, well, hopefully, that no wet tyres will be necessary. Number 77 of Sam Winter does lead the way, with Samuel Dix in second place, third Ian Brown, as we tune back into the racing now. 3.5 minutes remain on the clock, and it's still very close from third back to I think it's sixth position, seventh position, seventh place I think it is. Gary Cox is just holding on to that group as things stand, and also Steve Budd is just trying to cling on with his fingertips on the right at the back of that field. I'm not quite sure he's going to be able to make much progress with it. But as Sam Winter goes across the line, Samuel Dix in second, Ian Brown is in third, with Gover in fourth. Fifth is Rob Prince, overtaking Steve Nash on that previous lap. Gary Cox in seventh, and eighth place goes to Steve Budd, sorry, as things stand. Steve Nash is a couple of positions higher up in sixth, but that battle still rages on. Sam Winter being helped by this in the race lead. He's leading with a comfortable margin, 2 seconds on that last lap, and Samuel Dix in second place has got Ian Brown in third, a little way back. Fourth place Simon Gover is 1.4 seconds behind Ian Brown, so it doesn't look like that battle for fourth is going to improve their chances of getting onto the podium, but it will improve all their individual positions as Ian Brown looks to scoop up that third place now without so much of a problem. But fourth place Simon Gover's position is very much more competed for, as he's got Steve Nash, Rob Prince, Gary Cox and Steve Budd all wanting that position, with not long left on the clock now. Just under 1 minute and 50 remain, so still time for things to happen, but not an awful lot of time to catch up and overtake a racer, if that is the ambition with these many laps remaining. Samuel Dix has got Ian Brown for company, and that is a slight change, because it looked a few laps ago like Samuel Dix had that second place wrapped up pretty well, but now Ian Brown is right on the back of the number 26, and could be perhaps an opportunity for Ian Brown to get past him for second place. Still time left to do that, of course. He's going to have to increase the pace slightly though if he wants to catch right up to Samuel Dix in order to get into a passing position. As fourth place Simon Gover still under pressure from Steve Nash, number 39, but not under enough pressure at the moment in order to have to worry about being overtaken Might have to very shortly though. Steve Nash perhaps lining up a move into Billy's. Is he going down the pit straight now? Is there an opportunity? Steve Nash looks up the inside, going into Billy's. Does go up the inside, but now there's almost 3 abreast going into the S's. It looks like one of the drivers has been caught up in an incident there, sandwiched between 2 carts and pulling off to the side of the circuit. One of that battle is out and 3 remain. It also sort of took out one of the other drivers as well, the number 42 of Matthew Bowcroft, who wasn't involved. I didn't think he was involved in that battle, but now is very much, well, I'm kind of caught up to it slightly. But Steve Nash up into 4th, Simon Gover in 5th, losing that position. Steve Nash overtaking him, and Gover pushed out wide and squeezed one of the drivers out, meaning that is Rob Prince, and Heat 1 winner, Rob Prince, in fact, out of the running in Heat number 2. Very contrasting emotions with that. The difference in the races there, as the last lap board is out for race leader Sam Winter, who's looking on his way to get his first win of the day. Samuel Dix is in 2nd with Ian Brown in 3rd, still for company. 0.2 of a second separates the pair. Steve Nash is in 3rd and has got Simon Gover breathing down his neck in 4th, but Steve Nash having a good day so far. And you'd imagine he's going to hold on to that 4th. In fact, he definitely is, because suddenly, out of nowhere, Simon Gover seems to have just disappeared down the order. Checkered flag does go for Sam Winter, though, takes the race win ahead of Samuel Dix by 3.2 seconds. Ian Brown takes 3rd, with 4th going to Steve Nash. 5th goes to Steve Budd, the novice driver, so very much a lot of credit goes to the number 47, who finishes 5th. Despite being in his first 6 months of having an MSA licence. Gary Cox takes 6th, 7th goes to Matthew Bowcroft, with Simon Gover in 8th, 9th Dean Mann, and Rob Walker in 10th position there. It's the Junior Max Heat 2 up next, with a few Junior TKM thrown in for good measure as they make their way around the formation lap, ready to get underway with their second heat. On pole position, it is Harry Wilson-Brown. It's James Levy alongside him, with Harvey Thornley and Sophie Jeffrey on row 2. Tina Rourke-Lee on row 3. Let's see how this race goes. Good start for Wilson Brown, of course, and a very capable driver, so perhaps he will be the favourite, but never rule out Oakley Pryor. Sporting that WC number plate, of course, and he'll be looking to try and improve on his current position. Hasn't had the most amazing start, though, just 5 positions off last. And after a first lap, you might expect a little bit more from Oakley Pryor, but he's still got time on his side as he tries to make substantial progress to catch up towards the front of the field. Yellow flags out, but I'm not totally sure why. There might be a cart off in the blind spot. There's little bits of this circuit which I can't quite see from my commentary box position. Looking good at the moment, though, for Harry Wilson-Brown, who does lead the way from James Levy. Levy, who started in second and has held his current position. No changes from the grid out there on the circuit in terms of the top 2. Sophie Jeffrey in 3rd place has got Tin and Rourke in 4th. Behind her, Jem Hepworth sandwiches Tin and Rourke in 4th place, meaning Hepworth is in 5th position. 6th is Aidan Lee, 7th the Wessex champion of Oakley Pryor. Wilson Brown followed by Levy, though, and then it's Jeffrey, Hepworth and Rourke, who has now been overtaken by Hepworth. Pryor is up into 6th, Lee in 7th, 8th is Thornley with Watts in 9th, 10th Jos Lockett. We have seen Wilson Brown against Pryor a few times so far, in not only this meeting but in meetings in the past, and could this be another one? Wilson Brown currently has a very large gap back to Oakley Pryor, but whether that gap will remain, or you'd imagine it would certainly be smaller by the end of this race. Oakley Pryor doing nothing but making progress out there on the racetrack. Is there an opportunity perhaps for Jem Hepworth to improve on her current position of 3rd as well, as she tries to hunt down 2nd place James Levy, number 66, who is sitting in 2nd, has been pretty comfortably 2nd so far throughout the race. Will he become under any pressure? These are still questions which have to be answered within the next 5 minutes. Oakley Pryor all over the back of who's that? Tin and Rourke it is, the number 56. Battle for 4th place. It will mean that Pryor will find himself within just 3 places of race leader Wilson Brown. And he doesn't make his move up the inside now, makes it look so easy as he goes up the inside of Billy's Blind, round the S's and onto the Sturmey Straight for the 7th time. Around the horseshoe and the Buttons Bend, out to the top bend they come. Quick pit stop for the number 12 of Michael Goodburn, but it looks like he's onto the circuit now, looking to try and scoop up some points for last place. But for the first time in the race, Goodburn does join in the running, and was involved in a pretty exciting battle last time out. That battle for 4th, 5th and 6th unfortunately was involved in that incident, though, and there's a cart off halfway down the Sturmey Straight, just pulled off to the side. Seems like there is an issue with the cart. Driver begrudgingly gets out of the machine he was racing just a few seconds ago, and unfortunately that driver's race is over. Blue flag waving for a back marker to get out of the way, presumably of the race leader, or failing that, a couple of drivers who are in behind. Also, Oakley Pryor making progress through the field. I think he might have just got past Jem Hepworth, in fact, for third. So into the top three for the first time in this race, Oakley Pryor. And nothing can stop him at the moment. Absolutely on fire. You wouldn't rule out James Laby being overtaken by the end of this race, despite Laby showing he has some pretty substantial race pace so far. 35.2, certainly not a bad lap time as his fastest lap, but could yet still come under pressure from Oakley Pryor. Pryor comes across the line now in third. Is there going to be an opportunity for him to improve on his current position with just under 2 minutes left on the clock? He is catching up with Laby. The gap he took out of Laby's advantage from second was 0.3 of a second on that previous lap. And it's looking more and more likely that Laby will be caught in the imminent couple of laps by Oakley Pryor. He hasn't got that WC number plate for nothing. A very successful and enjoyable meeting last month. Capped off for a win for Oakley Pryor. Must have been a pretty perfect weekend for the youngster. But despite Oakley Pryor's pace and ruthlessness of terms of overtaking, it does look like Harry Wilson-Brown will be on his way to his first win of the day. Just 20 seconds left on the clock now, and Lady's got some defending to do. Pryor has been ruthless in catching up to him and now goes through of the inside of the S's. And easy as that, up into second place. James Laby falls into third for the first time today. Not today, sorry, in this race, but has to settle for that position, with Oakley Pryor finding himself up into second and potentially within a shout of certainly catching up with the race leader. But you'd imagine Wilson-Brown is too far up the road for Oakley Pryor to really think about getting past him. Blue flags wave for the number 23. That's Francis Jones, who has to get out of the way of Oakley Pryor, but it is a win for Harry Wilson-Brown. Oakley Pryor put in a very gallant effort, but unfortunately couldn't quite catch up and has to settle for second in the end. Made light work of the rest of the field though. James Laby settles for third. Fourth goes to Jem Hepworth. Fifth, Tiernan Rourke. Aidan Lee in sixth, seventh goes to Sophie Jeffrey, Harvey Thornley in eighth, ninth, Dylan Vessier, and Harry Rice rounds out the top 10. Harry Wilson-Brown taking his first win of the day though, as Oakley Pryor unable to catch up to the number 26 come the end of the race, despite substantial progress throughout the rest of the field. A couple of karts will have to be cleared off of the circuit before the Honda Anayami Cadet third and final heat. But after that, then we will be underway with race number 14, the Honda Anayami Cadets. It's the third heat for the Senior Max. 3 of 4. And some of the drivers will be having their last heat out there. Some of them will be having just their second. As the karts make their way round the top end before a lot of noise and excitement will follow on the next lap. It is Ari Barker who starts alongside Cole Edwards on the front row. Who will win the drag race? Down to Billy's blind as they make their way across the line. Now we are underway with the Senior Max, their third heat of the day, and Ari Barker gets off to a good start from pole, keeps Cole Edwards at bay, but not another driver, the number 5, who comes hurtling through and manages to get the better of both of them. So Charlie Turner with a very good start indeed into the lead of the race after just a few corners. Ari Barker in second place, Cole Edwards in third after over half a lap, Robert Guilford in fourth. Fifth place, a little bit further back, is the number 20 of Harry Wilmot, with Ethan Haynes and Dominic Shepherd in seventh. In eighth place, gaining 4 positions, Philip Hayworth, worth a mention for that, excuse the pun, but up into the top 10 where he started off in 12th position. Good first lap from him. Derek Hunt remains in 9th, his good position there, and 10th is Adam LeRae. But it's a very good start from Charlie Turner. I mentioned how he had that brilliant, well, the audacity to go up the inside of the S's, despite Cole Edwards and Ari Barker both holding their positions well. But now to have that, and now having established a lead as well, Charlie Turner with the start on greens and is up into the lead of the race, and seemingly without much competition at the moment. Ari Barker unable to match the pace that the number 5 currently occupies, as Cole Edwards in third position tries to heap pressure onto the number 14. Robert Guilford in fourth place. The number 48 is a little bit further off. Cole Edwards can't quite challenge number 11 as things stand. Has got Harry Wilmot and Ethan Haynes in behind, with Dominic Shepherd and Philip Hayworth in that mix as well. Let's see as they come across the line. It's Guilford, Haynes, Shepherd and Hayworth who are 5th, 6th and 7th. Sorry, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. And 8th place is Harry Wilmot, dropping 3 positions on that previous lap. Derek Hunt remains in 9th despite movement all around him, and Colin Davis finds himself up into the top 10, the number 71. Harriet Styles also gaining a position. James Moorcroft, winner of Heat 2, in 12th, and Luke Oliver gaining 3 up into 13th now, so we could lap from him. It keeps going well for Turner. Barker and Edwards are unchanged as they go across the line. Guilford, Haynes, Shepherd, Hayworth, Wilmot, no changes there either, but Colin Davis has got past Derek Hunt for 9th. The only change in the top 10 is that change for 9th and 10th. As the 23 drivers out there on the circuit try to compete to maybe squeeze it into the A final, if there is going to be an A or B final, but I suspect the B final won't be on. If you're allowed, I think it's 32 on the field at any one time, so maybe it'll just be the last place driver unfortunately won't get to race again. But I'm not sure if that is the case, so I could just be making that up, so we'll see. But as we can see out there on the circuit, it looks like Cole Edwards has managed to gain a position. He's up into 2nd now. Harry Barker has been overtaken by a couple of drivers, namely Edwards and the number 48 of Guilford, who's presumably followed through the number 11, and meaning Harry Barker, the number 14, has lost a couple of positions in that lap, unfortunately for him. But Barker remains in 4th with a lot of pressure from Ethan Haynes in behind, who's doing a good job of trying to heap the pressure onto Harry Barker in 4th place. Philip Hayworth and Dominic Shepherd are in 6th and 7th, just in behind, but joining that battle for 2nd. Realistically, that's what the battle is for, as Guilford gets past Edwards up the inside of the horseshoe. Change for 2nd position there, and the closest competitor to race leader Charlie Turner, although Turner is at the moment in a league of his own, the number 5, racing very well, and if things stand as they are, will be the 3rd different winner in as many races. The car's being dragged off there by one of the drivers who is walking towards presumably a marshal post or just to stand at the side so he's out of danger, but that car's being dragged to safety there. Yellow flags waving, but fortunately not a big incident. One of the cars also going particularly slowly out of the hairpin, so maybe another retirement there, but can't quite see the number from here. My eyes don't work that well. Warnings for a couple of drivers, the number 27 and 78. So number 27, just quick scan through. That's Elliot Herbert, who's in 22nd place, and number 78 of Luke Oliver, who is in 20th, but lost 4 positions in our last lap. Maybe it was as a result of the collision, which perhaps he was deemed to be responsible of, meaning he has that warning flag now. He's got to be cautious with his future manoeuvres for the rest of this race. Doesn't want to accumulate in as many as the marshals deem necessary to grant him a black flag. 2.5 minutes remain on the clock before we'll be down to the last lap of the senior Rotax third heat. Still their 4th heat coming up later in what I believe will be race number 17, but that's what it says in the program. That's just provisional, so might be earlier, might be later. Turner comes across the line though with a massive margin. 3.5 seconds separates himself in 2nd place to Cole Edwards, who's managed to get past Robert Guilford once again. Ethan Haynes is in 4th with 5th placed Philip Hayworth. 6th is Harry Barker, Dominic Shepherd in 7th, 8th Colin Davis, Harry Wilmot in 9th, 10th James Moorcroft. Turner still leads the way with just over a minute to go. Cole Edwards in 2nd place. 3rd is Robert Guilford. Ethan Haynes in 4th. Philip Hayworth in 5th. That order does remain the same there, but it's still all to play for. Perhaps not for 1st place. That seems pretty much bagged by Charlie Turner, who is really driving very well indeed. Got Cole Edwards in 2nd though, and Ethan Haynes in 3rd. 4th is Robert Guilford with Philip Hayworth in 5th. Order remains the same, but still from 2nd down to 8th place, there's absolutely nothing separating those drivers. Edwards being followed by Haynes in the latter stages of this race now. Will there be any changes, any spanners thrown in the works? With not that much time left to go. This will be the penultimate lap now, as Edwards looks to try and hold on to that 2nd place. Being very closely followed by Haynes though. Guilford and Hayworth are also in with the running. A slight gap then back to 6th place Harry Barker, who's got Colin Davis and Dominic Shepherd for company. Well, it looks like if it's going to be someone who takes 2nd, it's going to be one of either Edwards, Haynes, Guilford or Hayworth. Maybe a little bit further back the other drivers, but Haynes is the one putting on the pressure on Edwards at the moment. Turner in the race lead, meanwhile, has absolutely disappeared up the road. But Edwards is doing his best to hold on to the next best position. 2nd place. Could have perhaps any pressure come the end here, but it is going to be the checkered flag. And Ethan Haynes, unfortunately, just couldn't quite do anything about Cole Edwards in 2nd place there. 3rd does go to Ethan Haynes. 4th goes to Robert Guilford. 5th belonging to Philip Hayworth. 6th, Harry Barker. 7th, Colin Davis. 8th, Dominic Shepherd, James Moorcroft and Harry Wilmot round out the top 10. Of course, not forgetting that Charlie Turner raced very well indeed and won by over 4 seconds. Very good drive from him. Now we have the Honda and Miami Cadet Heat number 3, and hopefully this should be an exciting one. Should be a pretty close affair. We've got a lot of drivers who will be wanting to go out there and do the absolute best that they can in order to get that grid position for the final, which they'll all feel they want to get. Cameron Ross starts on pole alongside Kai Murphy. Jake Maynard has Thomas Kukuru-Yeomans alongside him on row 2 with George Walker and Mason Perrin on row 3. Cameron Crockett, Ollie Tyler, Harry James and Ewan Charman round out the top 10. As we make our way now, the karts heading towards the acceleration line and get ready to begin the race for the third and final heat for the Honda and Miami Cadets. 8 minutes to enjoy, and one of the cars instantly off across the grass, but fortunately doesn't come onto the track the other side and cause any collisions. But we have an early leader. Looks like it's Cameron Ross, number 24, is indeed from pole position, so managed to get away from the start and didn't lose any off that. But there's yellow flags waving for a couple of karts who are facing the wrong way around the hairpin, but managed to get back underway and head towards the horseshoe with no retirements as of yet. Each of the 26 karts still remain out on track, which is good to see after a first lap. No casualties as of yet, but Cameron Ross might be under a bit of pressure for the race lead as the number 16 goes alongside him. And is that going to be a change? It's Jake Maynard going up the inside. Maynard now has the race lead for the first time today. I don't think Maynard has led. And the number 86 of Thomas Kukuru-Yeomans is in third place. Ollie Tyler is in fourth, having gained 5. Archie Brown has also gained 5 to find himself in fifth. Whittington Couch has gained 5. Charlie Vaughan has gained 7. He started in 14th place and now in 7th place in the number 17. But in fact has... no, he's still in 7th place. Sorry, I thought he might have gained another position there. But Cameron Crockett in 8th. 9th is Harry James, and currently rounding out the top 10, Oliver Makepeace, gaining 5 positions off the start. And now as we move on to the second lap, the field beginning to filter into more pace positions now, rather than the first lap madness which we often see in classes, but in the Honda Cadets especially as well. Each of the cars such a similar performer in a lot of aspects in this class. Very close racing as the number 16 of Jake Maynard leads for the second consecutive lap, but how long will it be for, as Ollie Tyler is right on the rear bumper of him already. Hasn't taken long for the C-plated driver to get into the top 2, and now he'll be looking to try and get into the race lead as soon as possible. He's already got past Cameron Ross, and Archie Brown perhaps is looking to try and get through as well into 4th. He does indeed manage to do that. Remember that I believe the case is that Ollie Tyler must finish 2 places or more ahead of Archie Brown in order to secure that pole position for the final later on. So if things stand as they are, Archie Brown will be on pole, and perhaps you can only see Archie Brown improving. He's looking for a hat-trick of victories out here today in the 3rd heat of the day for the Honda Cadets. Will he be able to achieve that, as he has a little look up the inside of the top end, but no can do. But then he does manage to go through on the exit of the corner, and number 24 Cameron Ross in a little bit of trouble. Perhaps will be overtaken by Kukuru Yeomans as well, as Ollie Tyler has a look to try and get past the current race leader Jake Maynard, who's very much holding his own in the race lead, doing a good job to keep Ollie Tyler at bay. Archie Brown is in 3rd and only just in behind that top 2. Still a lot of time left, of course, for this all to change and turn on his head. But Charlie Vaughan he's progressed meanwhile. He's up into 6th now, I believe it is. Yep, 6th place. Still struggling though to try and keep the 7th place Joshua Whittington Couch at bay, the number 99, who has very much proved his capabilities this season. And looking to try and get past Charlie Vaughan, which will boost him up into the top 6, but there are no changes in the top 6 on that last lap. See if there will be any in some laps to come, as Cameron Ross has a little look up the inside of Kukuru Yeomans, but no can do there as a cloud crosses over the circuit. Collision between a couple of the drivers there in a very strange location, facing the wrong way on the Sturmey Straight, and the number 84 perhaps panics and spins around as a result of that. Ronnie Bellew also getting involved in that. There's a black and white flag out for one of the drivers, but there was an incident there at the Sturmey Straight. A couple of drivers involved in that collision. Fortunately, no casualties in order in terms of regarding the amount of competitors out there on the circuit. Ollie Tyler still remains ahead of Archie Brown as things stand, but it looks like he's trying to make a move up the inside, but now Archie Brown's also going to try and follow through. And will he be able to get past Ollie Tyler? He does indeed. Ollie Tyler decided against the move. And Archie Brown had committed though, and he went up the inside of Ollie Tyler, couldn't get past Maynard. But that small mistake by Ollie Tyler could cost him the race win here, as Archie Brown is, as he's proved throughout the day, really the one to beat and very difficult to get past. He's now going to have a go himself at Jake Maynard's race lead, and he does manage to get past, but Ollie Tyler, will he be looking to try and follow through as well? He does manage to do so, so he finds himself into 2nd, but Archie Brown, the race leader, and that, if anything, is worse news for Ollie Tyler, because that means he's got to get past the number 7, who has been so fantastic so far throughout the day, in order to get into the race lead. But around the horseshoe they go for the 8th time in this race, with Charlie Vaughan having progressed into 4th place now. I believe he's managed to get past both Kukuru Yeomans and shake off the pressure of Whittington Couch. He has indeed, so ahead of Whittington Couch, who has also leapfrogged Kukuru Yeomans. But that battle for 4th is still raging strong. Charlie Vaughan is far from guaranteed that 4th is going to be the lowest he's going to finish. Top 3 though, they are ahead of Charlie Vaughan by over 1.6 seconds, so fairly sizable gap. And those 3 drivers will think it will be between those three who will take the race win. At the moment, it's looking good for Archie Brown in the lead of the race, with Ollie Tyler in second position, right on the back of the number 7. And could this be an opportunity for him to interrupt the winning streak of Archie Brown? Has taken 2 wins out of 2 so far, the number 7, including that fantastic drive in Heat 2, of course. Ollie Tyler now, though, has got his work cut out to take his first win of the day. No changes in the top 3 come the end of this lap, as the battle for 4th still pretty toasty. Whittington, Couch and Kookaroo Yeoman still attempting to get past Charlie Vaughan, who's holding them off pretty well at the moment, not having to use any particularly defensive manoeuvres, but his pace is dealing with it. We know he is, of course, a very quick driver, often squabbling with Ollie Tyler at the front of the pack, but today hasn't quite been on the form which perhaps we might have anticipated of Charlie Vaughan. Sitting in 4th at the moment, that should guarantee him a 3rd place start in the final later on. Jake Maynard will be finishing in the highest position he's finished so far today if he concludes in his 3rd place here. He's good work for it too. He's worked very hard for it, led the race in the early stages through to the middle stages before Ollie Tyler really offered a lot of pressure and Archie Brown got into the lead. Perhaps Ollie Tyler still is trying to get past Archie Brown. Brown hasn't managed to disappear into the distance. This is a warning for the number 78, that's Kieran Roberts, who's in 17th position. He's got a warning under his belt now. But as they come across the line this time by, it will be the last lap. So will we see any dramatic changes in the finale of this race? As Ollie Tyler has a look up the inside but cannot do anything there. He couldn't even have a look because Archie Brown was physically blinding him, placing his car in the most defensive place that he can, and who can blame him? Ollie Tyler, if he has a look at the inside, I'm not sure he's going to be able to do anything there. Maynard's also looking to attack as much as he possibly can, but going around the hairpin for the final time, and Ollie Tyler's still having a look up the inside, but Archie Brown's doing the best defensive driving that he can muster. Tyler still trying to heap the pressure on in these closing stages, but will he be able to get past? Looks good for Archie Brown. Looks like he's going to be able to take his 3rd win out of 3, and as they make their way towards the checkered flag, it's going to be Archie Brown who does take a hat-trick of victories, the first driver to do so today. Across the line, beating Ollie Tyler to the line by just 0.26 of a second, as Jake Maynard takes 3rd ahead of Oliver Makepeace. Joshua Whittington Couch takes 5th, and it was a bit of a slump in form towards the rear end of that race as Charlie Vaughan succumbs to a 6th place finish in the end. Unfortunate for him, he'll be disappointed with that, but has got chances to make up for it in the final later on in what I believe will be race number 20. Thomas Kookaroo Yeoman takes 7th, 8th goes to Cameron Ross, 9th George Walker, and Ewan Charman in 10th place. Exciting finale to that race. Archie Brown having to defend right to the death, but eventually does hold on to his race lead and take yet another victory. He'll be the one to beat in the final later on. He's acclaimed 90 points throughout the day, winning in all 3 30-pointers. He will start on pole and be with a great position and a great chance of winning 4 wins out of 4, something which doesn't really happen very often at all in the cadet classes, that's for sure. But Archie Brown will be hoping that he can do just that. Ollie Tyler concludes his race in 2nd, and Jake Maynard proved his worth by finishing in 3rd place. And now we look forward to the next race, which I believe is going to be Formula Blues. Is indeed. They're out on circuit, ready to go for their 3rd and final heat. It's Hannah McLeod who starts on the front row alongside Graham Dudley. Formula Blues ready and raring to go for race number 15 and their final heat of the day. We are now underway with this one. Hannah McLeod on the front row, but Anthony Cleal spins again and once again is involved in an incident in the Formula Blue class. This time not a few laps in though, it's on the first lap, arguably one of the better times to get in an incident because then at least you have time to get back in the field and back in the running. But the number 37 spins and is off onto the grass, looking to try and get back onto the circuit though. Early on in the S's, the number 37 taking a hit there, Sir Philippe Essink. So unfortunately, looks like Essink's potentially, no, looks like he's not going again, so fortunately for him. But Mitchell McLeod taking an early lead here with Luke Latimer in second position. Third place it goes to the number 11 of Rob Mortimer with Taylor Waldron in fourth place. Fifth is Kevin Ford. Each of those drivers gaining 2 positions or more, as Robert Dudley is the first driver to not move anywhere from his grid position in 6th place. 7th is Duncan McLeod, 8th Ian Bramfield, Jake Drew Culvert in 9th, 10th Ryan Edgecombe. Both Drew Culvert and Edgecombe gaining 7 positions off the first lap, so top half of the field can be very pleased with how they've done, each making a gain of at least 2 spaces or more off the start, and each of them now have really shaken up the field and makes you think that who, if anyone, has got a guaranteed win here. Apologies, those of you on the stream, if I do occasionally pause. Likelihood is that someone's making an announcement over the speaker, over the circuit speaker, so I can't talk over them, so apologies if I do stop talking from time to time. A couple of positions changing around in the top 3 there. As Kevin Ford pushes Rob Mortimer out of the top 3, getting past him. Rob Mortimer also loses out to Taylor Waldron and Duncan McLeod, who follow through and are now sitting in 4th and 5th places respectively. Not long has gone on the clock though. We're coming up to 2.5 minutes having gone, and Mitchell McLeod does still lead the way from the number 5 of Luke Latimer. Blue flag waving, one of the back markers who's got to get out of the way of the rest of the field. Anthony Cleal making good progress back through the field though. He's in 12th place after that first lap spin, first corner spin. And now Cleal will be looking to try and catch up to the front runners of this race. Will he be able to get that done? Not very often someone has a first lap incident and then manages to get back into the lead of the race. Jenson Button did it, of course, a few years ago in Formula 1 against Sebastian Vettel on the last lap. But arguably won't be quite as fantastic a story if it happens here at Clay Pigeon, but nonetheless it would be a fantastic feat for Anthony Cleal to go ahead and do that. Out of the top end they come, and down the pit straight once more. It's Mitchell McLeod who still holds the race lead ahead of Luke Latimer, who is just about failing to catch up to Mitchell McLeod each lap, losing a tiny bit of time. But Duncan McLeod is in 3rd, Kevin Ford is in 4th, 5th place is Ian Bramfield, 6th is Jake Drew Culvert with Taylor Waldron in 7th, 8th is Rob Mortimer, Ryan Edgecombe in 9th, 10th Robert Dudley. 11th meanwhile is Anthony Cleal, the number 1, who's looking to try and make as much progress as he can. Latimer comes across the line ahead of Duncan McLeod for the first time. Something's happened here to Mitchell McLeod. I didn't see what has happened, but the number 10 is not in the running, down into 18th position, so I assume there was a collision of some sort there. I didn't quite see what happened, just took my eye off that battle for the lead for a second there, and suddenly Mitchell McLeod is all the way down and potentially out of the running. I'm not even sure where he is, but shown as 19th on the screen. Hasn't come across the line this time though. But that does mean that Luke Latimer is gifted the race lead realistically, but Duncan McLeod is catching in and honing in on the race leader. Could Latimer be under threat from Duncan McLeod, who has had a very good day actually, the number 7. He's driven very well on a number of occasions. There could be an opportunity for him to potentially sniff out a win with the number 4 of Kevin Ford under a bit of pressure from Ian Branfield. And now Branfield has made it past Ford and into the top 3. Drew Colbert remains in 5th, 6th Taylor Waldron 7th belongs to Ryan Edgecombe, with Anthony Cleal in 8th, 9th Rob Mortimer and Ron shown in 10th. And got to shout out once again Anthony Cleal into 8th place, considering that spin on the first lap. Very credible progress made by the number 1. But he has got a lot of time to try and make up now to improve on his current position, because the driver ahead of him, 7th place Ryan Edgecombe, is over 4 seconds ahead. So he's going to have to really pull something special out of the bag if he wants to get into the top 7. Not a lot of time left on the clock, less than a minute in fact, before it looks like Luke Latimer will be on his way to not a victory, because Duncan McLeod's got past him. So Duncan McLeod up into the lead of the race, and Luke Latimer having to surrender that. 3rd, 4th different race leader perhaps in this one. It's been a topsy-turvy race, and Duncan McLeod leads for what is definitely not his first time, his first stint in doing so throughout the day. Yellow flags waving for one of the carts who is off in the tyre wall of the hairpin. But Duncan McLeod leads from Luke Latimer. That battle for first currently being won by McLeod. Out of the top end, those 2 racers come and towards the start finish line to see the last lap board. The number 3 of Ian Branfield is currently making up the top 3. The final position of it anyway. Kevin Ford is in 4th place, with 5th Jake Drew Calvert and Taylor Waldron in 6th. 7th is Anthony Cleal. But now coming across the line and taking the checkered flag once again is Duncan McLeod, who's had another brilliant race. Luke Latimer takes 2nd, 3rd goes to Ian Branfield, 4th Kevin Ford, 5th Jake Drew Calvert, Taylor Waldron 6th, 7th Anthony Cleal, Ryan Edgecombe 8th, 9th goes to Ron Schoen and Robert Dudley 10th. Given a few more laps, perhaps Anthony Cleal would have been able to catch up even more. He managed to close the gap to Taylor Waldron to just 0.4 of a second. So really fantastic progress from Cleal to start relatively towards the back, get involved in incident which puts him right at the back. To finish his race in 7th is a good job, and well, it remains to be seen where he will start in the final later on. That final will be seen in race number 22, I believe it will be. But we next up have the Minimax for their 3rd and final heat. It's race number 16 up next. Minimax. Heat number 3 is going to get underway very shortly. Looks like they're going to go around one more time though. It gives me a chance to read out the grids for you. It's Toby Ehlers-Jones who starts on pole alongside Daniel Beard. Jake Adams and Sebastian Marlowe are on row 2, with row 3 James Watson and Masej Hemera, with Charlie Knight and Joanna Ottavianelli 7th and 8th, and 9th and 10th William Hicklin and Sean Cuss, who couldn't quite take the win to the end on the last heat. He'll be hoping to do so this time. Of course, Sebastian Marlowe, always one to watch. Starts on 4th place in this race, and let's see how much progress he can make. The number 97 as they go away now across the line. We're racing with the Minimax once again there for their 3rd heat this time, and Marlowe gets off to a good start up into 2nd place already, in behind the number 68 of Daniel Beard, who's taken an early lead here. Looks like there's been a collision between 3 of the cars, or at least an incident, which has meant that those 3 are stuck way behind the rest of the field. Realistically, the 3 of them quite far back now, and looking to try and rejoin the field. Coming across the line to complete the first lap is the number 97 of Sebastian Marlowe, who has an early race lead ahead of Daniel Beard, who, despite having a good start, couldn't hold on to it for so long. Sebastian Marlowe showing him the kind of pace which evades so many other drivers very fast indeed. James Wilson is in 3rd, 4th Toby Ehlers-Jones, and 5th Charlie Knight as things stand. Both involved in very good battles in the day so far, so perhaps could have maybe expected some more of the same, but both seemingly out of the running for a particularly high position now. Apologies to those of you on the stream, kept cutting out intermittently there. Hopefully that won't happen again. Sebastian Marlowe leads the way on his 5th lap of the race now, as the number 64 of James Watson remains in 2nd place, Charlie Knight in 3rd, Jake Adams in 4th, 5th Daniel Beard losing a couple of positions over the last couple of laps. Masej Hemera in 6th place, 7th is Charlie Blackman, Toby Ehlers-Jones in 8th, 9th is Jack Finch, Joanna Ottavianelli in 10th. Approaching halfway through the race here, and the top 3 are disappearing into the distance. From the perspectives of the other racers, Marlowe is very much in some clean air here. Over 2.5 seconds separates himself and nearest rival James Watson, who will likely start on second place on the grid, but not totally sure. Didn't have an amazing second heat. And Charlie Knight is currently in third. Fourth belongs to Jake Adams, with fifth Masay Shamera. Sixth is Daniel Beers. Charlie Blackman in seventh. Eighth Jack Finch. Ninth Sean Cuss. And 10th is Toby Elis Jones, pole sitter for this race, down into 10th position now. Two and a half minutes left on the clock then. Marlowe leads the way in a race which has been solely his. Led almost from the very start. At the end of the first lap, he was already in the lead ahead of Daniel Beards, who's now in 7th place. And James Watson has emerged as his closest competitor throughout the day. But despite that, Marlowe still absolutely on fire and is racing incredibly well at the front of the field. Number 64 of James Watson is in second place. Third is Charlie Knight. Fourth, Jake Adams. Fifth, Masay Shamera. With sixth place, Jack Finch ahead of Daniel Beards in 7th. 8th is Sean Cuss. 9th, Charlie Blackman. Toby Elis Jones in 10th. Only one driver out of the running, William Hicklin. Presumably pulled into the pits. I cannot see his cars around the circuit, so presumably went into the pits after that first lap incident. Actually, no, I can see him standing by the marshal post there. So out of the running, and 12 still remain in the Minimax race. There's not a lot of time left on the clock, just under a minute in fact, as we tick down in the last 60 seconds, but 12 drivers remain. Not any majorly close battles on the track though, as we see Marlowe, who does lead the way, and comfortably so. Over 2.7 seconds separating himself and nearest competitor James Watson. Charlie Knight is in third. He is 2.9 seconds behind his nearest rival. Jake Adams is 4th, 5th. It's Masay Shamera. Hasn't been a really close race in terms of any of the drivers really getting at each other's throats in this one, but I suppose that's sometimes what happens in kart racing. Sebastian Marlowe has given us a masterclass in how to control a race. Is on his way to a second consecutive victory here. He will certainly be bagging pole for later, unless he's got any penalties for any of the particular reasons in the first 3 heats. I'd imagine he'd be pretty pleased with how today has gone for the number 97, who's on his way to collect the checkered flag once again. Here he comes across the line now. Brilliant racing from Sebastian Marlowe to take the win ahead of James Watson by 2.7 seconds. Charlie Knight takes third. Fourth will go to Jake Adams, but only just ahead of Jack Finch and Asay Shamara, who are battling side by side at the death there. 0.07 of a second separated the pair as they went across the line, with Sean Cuss in 7th, 8th Daniel Beards, 9th Charlie Blackman, and Toby Ellis Jones rounds out the top 10. Well controlled by Marlowe, as I've mentioned. Really did do a very good job in keeping everyone else at bay behind him and not really offering them any kind of weaknesses to exploit. Drove expertly and deservedly yet another win for the 97 as we look forward now to the next race. Race number, it might be 17 in fact, the Senior Rotax could be up. It is indeed the next race. So Benjamin Gilbert will start on pole position alongside Andy Ward after a great race from Sebastian Marlowe to take the win in the third Minimax heat. Benjamin Gilbert starts on the front row alongside the number 19 of Andy Ward. Wessex champion Thomas Martin starts in third place alongside Oliver Holden on row 2, with Colin Davis and Dominic Shepherd on row 3. Emilia Vincent alongside Alex Dyson make up 7th and 8th as they come across the line now to begin the 4th and final heat for the Senior Max, the only class with 4 heats out there today. And we are now underway with the 20 drivers who have been allocated positions for this 4th heat. Of course, each of the drivers only compete in 3 of the 4 heats. So we have the number 88 in an early lead here, Benjamin Gilbert, just about ahead of Wessex champion Thomas Martin. One of the carts is off at the top there, just around the hairpin. And it's looking like they're going to become an early casualty of this race. Indeed, it might be Liam Rabjohns. Yellow flags waving for another incident, this time at Billy's. As I believe that's Cole Edwards finds, no, it's not number 43 in fact. David Wright finds himself facing the wrong way at Billy's blind. So further up the field though, looks like it's the number 48 who still does lead. It's Benjamin Gilbert ahead of Thomas Martin, Colin Davis in 3rd, 4th is Oliver Holden, 5th is Jack Mayle with Harry Wilmot in 6th, 7th is Dominic Shepherd with Charlie Turner in 8th, 9th Robert Guilford and Kieran Gifford, just to confuse you, in 10th position. one of the karts pulled into the pits on that last lap. Not quite sure who that was. I think it was Liam Radjons who rejoined the field after that spin at the hairpin. So, but pulled it back into the pit. So it's Benjamin Gilbert who leads from Thomas Martin. Colin Davis is in maybe a slightly higher position than he would usually find himself in, but a good grid position start for him up into third place. Now Oliver Holden is in fourth, fifth place Jack Mail with Harry Wilmot in sixth. Still very close together though, all of the field. There's no space anywhere really, a couple of gaps here and there, but more or less the battle at the front consists of first all the way down to, let's have a quick look, I think it is 10th place, so the top 10 all within distance of one another, and that's really quite impressive stuff. Any one of them could still take it. As the number 18 gets slightly pushed onto the grass there. Andy Ward. Oh no, it's Harriet Stiles, in fact, I believe, who was pushed out wide. My mistake. And there's a warning for the number 60 now. And that is, let's just see, as they come by, it's Jack Mail up into second place, but presumably deemed that was done illegally, so in second, but has got a warning. Thomas Martin is the race leader though, and it's a massive incident. 4 or 5 drivers off into the barriers. It was going to happen perhaps at some stage. Each of the drivers racing very close together out of the hairpin and towards the horseshoe, but 4 drivers off. The wall has to be readjusted. It's a warning for the number 22, I believe that is. That's Derek Hunt. Got a warning under his belt. Sorry, I just had to clear my throat for a second there. But yeah, as I say, big incident involving 4 drivers off out of the hairpin. All 4 drivers off, but one of them's managed to get going again. It looks like the other 3 might be retirement. It did look pretty hefty. You could hear it from inside the commentary box once again, and that wall looks pretty destroyed. It will certainly be a yellow flag zone for a few laps to come, you would have thought, but the marshals at Clay Pigeon here, ever efficient and slick, and will get us going in safe conditions, I'm sure, before long. But how has this shaped up the front of the field now? It will certainly disperse a lot of the racers at the top end of the circuit, and that group of 10 has really been split down into 5 drivers who are still right at the front, and it's Jack Mail who does lead the way with Thomas Martin in second place. Third is Charlie Turner with Oliver Holden and Colin Davis rounding out the top 5. Yellow flag still waving in that sector, of course, so no overtaking going into the horseshoe, but there's no one who was really close enough to make any advantage of that, had there not been yellow flags anyway. But coming out of the top end and towards Billy's Blind, once again we have the race leader, number 60, Jack Mail. Having got past Thomas Martin, he's been good in proceedings here and takes the lead. A few laps ago has driven well since. Yellow flag still waving in the section through here, but I'm not sure whether you'll be allowed to overtake out around the hairpin or not. I think it's 2 separate sectors are actually being yellow flagged, so maybe would get away with it, but it doesn't look like, as I've said, there's no one who's really within a passing position of someone else anyway. That battle with the top 5 is just tiny gap followed by tiny gap, meaning there's no one who's really in that fantastic position to take advantage of a driver ahead of them. But there could well be over the next couple of laps. They all look pretty racy, and Thomas Martin on the back of race leader Mail, but I don't think that's going to be the opportunity. Perhaps Martin being overtaken from the number 5, Charlie Turner, who showed us how to race in heat to number 2. Perhaps that will be a more realistic overtake to happen in the imminent few laps. So 5 drivers out of the running out of the 20 who started, meaning Brightman West is currently in 15th place. Yeah, the number 17 with Andy Ward in 14th, Harriet Styles in 13th, 12th is Adam LeRae, David Wright in 11th. And then the rest, of course, squeeze into the top 10 with Jack Mail, the number 60, in the lead once again. Thomas Martin in 2nd place, Charlie Turner 3rd, 4th Oliver Holden, 5th Colin Davis, James Moorcroft 6th, 7th Robert Guilford, 7th is Gabriel Abbott with Amelia Vincent 9th, and Derek Hunt in 10th. Or in fact has moved down the order, has he, Derek Hunt? Yep, he has indeed. Has particularly slow lap time there, 39.1, so seems to be wrapped up in a collision of some kind, perhaps pushed out wide or something of the similar for Derek Hunt, meaning that Adam LeRae now squeezes into the top 10 as a replacement. Around across the line they go again. With just 7 seconds left on the clock, so the next lap will be the final one. Jack Mail still leads the way though, could still maybe be any of the top 6, but you suspect that perhaps Mail could just see this one out. Last lap board will be out at the end of this lap. Let's see as they go across the line what the last lap has in store for us as Thomas Martin tries to close in on the race leader. He's got Charlie Turner for company. He's in 3rd position. Oliver Holden, Colin Davis and James Moorcroft are all within a shout of improving on their current positions they're holding. Yellow flag still waving in that sector, no overtaking there, not sure there'll be any overtaking right at the end, excuse me, but James Moorcroft's trying to get up into 5th place, and as they make their way out of the top end down towards the finish line, it will be Jack Mail to take the win. He takes the checker flag ahead of Thomas Martin. Charlie Turner takes 3rd, 4th goes to Oliver Holden, with James Moorcroft taking 5th right at the death there. Colin Davis couldn't quite hold on and has to settle for 6th. 7th goes to Robert Guilford. Gabriel Abbott 8th, 9th Amelia Vincent, Adam LeRae takes 10th. Excuse me, had a very dry throat in the latter stages of that race there, so apologies if you missed out on any of that, but Amelia Vincent and Adam LeRae round out the top 10. Harriet Styles concludes her race in 11th, Derek Hunt 12th, 13th Andy Ward, and I believe they were the finishers. David Wright 3 laps ago didn't register a lap time after that. Jordan Brightman West finished his race 5 laps ago, and Gilbert, Shepherd, Gifford and Wilmot were all involved in that incident a few laps in, of course, which is still being cleared up now. Big incident, and there have been a couple of those today. Has been a day where we have seen a few messy incidents, a couple of collisions. Would be nice to clear that up in the remaining races, but the carts, the drivers get their carts back on the trolleys. We'll return them to the pit lane and get on repairing them and preparing them for the final later on, the Senior Max final, which I'm sure will definitely be worth a watch as they take those carts to the pits though. That concludes the heats for the Senior Rotax, and 2 more heats remain. It's the 177 and 177 Masters up next, followed by the Junior Rotax for a short break, and we'll be back with the finals this afternoon, which is going to be very exciting. But the carts will make their way onto the circuit now. These will be the 177 and 177 Masters out on the track, ready to go for their 3rd and final heat. Last chance for any of the drivers to upgrade, I suppose, on their positions which they've already bagged. But can they improve upon that and get a better position for the final later on, their final, which will be on in race number 21. But here they come. It should be a good race. It's Samuel Dix who starts on pole alongside Dean Mann. Gary Cox is on row 2 with Simon Gover. And Steve Nash and Martin Howell make up row 3. Row 4 is Rob Prince's Sam Winter, Scott Walker and Andrew Crockett, row 5. Samuel Dix, as mentioned, will start on the front row alongside Dean Mann, first and second. Gary Cox, Simon Gover, Steve Nash, Martin Howell, Rob Prince, Sam Winter, Scott Walker and Andrew Crockett round out the top 10 in the 177s this afternoon. Ian Brown, Rob Walker, Steve Budd, Matthew Bowcroft and Philip Wood make up the remaining 5 drivers out of the 15 kart grid for the 177 and 177 Masters, their third heat, which is going to get underway very shortly. Here they come across the line now, and we are underway with race number 18. And they get to a good start, each of the drivers trying to improve on their grid positions, but it's the number 26 from the front row, Samuel Dix, getting a good start, and he manages to keep the opposition at bay. Across the line they come, completing their first lap, and it is Samuel Dix who does lead the way in these early stages, with Dean Mann in second position. Gary Cox is in third, fourth is Steve Nash, fifth Simon Gover, Rob Prince, Sam Winter, Martin Howell 6th, 7th and 8th. Sam Winter leapfrogging Martin Howell on that previous lap, with Scott Walker and Ian Brown in 9th and 10th. A few of the drivers at the rear of the field are maybe missing. 10th, 11th, 12th and 13th is the lowest position, which we can see out there on the circuit, but 15th supposedly were supposed to line up on the grid, so not quite sure where a couple of the drivers are, but hopefully they'll be back for the final later on, the 177 and 177 Masters final. Samuel Dix leads the way though, and he is ahead, but there's a driver latched on top of another one. It's the number 42 kart. He's stuck on top of the number 23 kart. Those two drivers looking to try and get underway as soon as they can, but after that incident on the horseshoe, might be difficult to do so. Let's see if they can get underway. They both can, which is good to see. So the battle at the front though heating up, and we've got 4 drivers who are right at the front giving it their all. See how this one could pan out. I don't think there's too many changes in order in terms of the top 4, but Sam Winter has got past Simon Gover as well as Rob Prince on that previous lap, meaning that he is now promoted up into 5th position. And indeed, the battle still with the top 5, and a bit further down, in fact, 7th down to the top 7 is still very close, and nothing to separate them at this stage. Close racing, but there's another incident down at the hairpin. Kart goes over the top of another one. Into the tyre wall. Might be difficult to get out of that one. Might be a retirement, but it's been a fairly scrappy race so far. A couple of karts off, few incidents. As I won, of course, on the horseshoe a couple of laps ago. One of the drivers latched on top of the other, which I couldn't quite commentate about at the time of the circuit, just because of announcements going out over the speakers. But of course, both of those drivers have managed to get going again. This time, the driver at the hairpin might not get so lucky. Might have to surrender that. Steve Nash is off and not looking like he's going to be able to get going again on the side of the short straight separating the hairpin and the horseshoe. Number 26, Samuel Dick still leads the way with Sam Winter in second. Third place is Rob Prince. Fourth is Simon Gover with Martin Howell in fifth. Sixth is Philip Wood. Seventh is Rob Walker. Eighth is Scott Walker with Gary Cox and Ian Brown, 9th and 10th. But already a couple of retirements and a few incidents. Has been pretty common throughout the day, actually. It's been not the cleanest day, it has to be said. A few incidents here and there. We're in the penultimate one of the heats, though, so hopefully everyone can have a bite at lunchtime and maybe come back a little bit cooler after the break and rejoin us with the finals later on with a bit closer and more careful racing, perhaps. But we shall see if that comes true. Number 77 of Sam Winter all over the back of race leader Samuel Dix, and now it has come down to a top 3 battle for the lead. There was 7 karts involved, of course, a few laps ago, but some have dropped off, some have been involved in incidents, and now it's one of 3 who are realistically going to take the win for this race with over 5 minutes gone now. So we have Samuel Dix in the lead of the race, Sam Winter, battle of the Sams, in second place with Rob Prince in third. Those 3 battling it out, and let's see who does come out on top. It looks like Sam Winter might have been able to get past Dix, though. Is that a change at the front? It looks like Dix is going to try and go alongside, but will Rob Prince be able to follow through as well? This could be an opportunity for Winter to try and get back into the lead. He does, in fact, overtake Dix and into the lead of the race. Sam Winter, sorry, but Dix tries to go at the inside, cannot quite do so there, and Rob Prince also trying to follow through, unable to do so. Dix holds that second place just about. Prince is trying to get through, but he holds him off well, and Sam Winter in the number 77 kart leading the way, and seemingly comfortably for the first time. He's had a good day, Sam Winter. He's in the lead once again, and has already won a race, of course. Won Heat 2 earlier on, and looking to try and win Heat 3 here as well. Samuel Dix has got a warning flag, black and white. He's going to have to be careful to not cause any similar offences in the next few laps, although there's not a lot of time left in this one, just 1 minute and 20 seconds. And that will be the end of the third heat for the 177 and 177 Masters. But for that remaining 1 minute, we're going to have to see who will come out on top at the front, and that is a battle which is definitely worth a watch. At the moment, Sam Winter is in the lead and is pulling away slightly, but the battle for second is far from over. Samuel Dix holding that position at the moment, but will he be able to keep Rob Prince at bay? Prince has a little look and has another little sneak peek up the inside of the horseshoe, but unable to do anything there as they make their way around buttons and across the old commentary box position in the old finish line, round to the top bend and down towards the start finish line again. Prince trying to have a look up the inside of Billy's, but won't be able to quite make that move there. How much time left on the clock? Just under 30 seconds, so they might just about squeeze another lap in. But is there an opportunity for Simon Gover perhaps to catch up with these top 2? He's 1.3 seconds behind second and third, that battle. But whether he will be able to do so, looks like he's going to run out of time before he will be able to do that. The number 77 of Sam Winter is on his way to a consecutive victory. Not sure he's had consecutive victories here at Clay for a little while. I don't remember it fresh in my memory, but last lap board is indeed out for those drivers. So it's the last lap, and it's Sam Winter who's going to surely take it home and just needs to really take it back now to the finish line. But Rob Prince has managed to get into second place, and Samuel Dix unfortunately losing that position on the final lap, or just before the final lap. And it looks like it is going to be the number 77 of Sam Winter who takes the checkered flag, takes the win, and surely pole position in the final later on. Rob Prince takes second, third goes to Samuel Dix. Simon Gover takes fourth place, fifth belongs to number 15 Philip Wood, with Martin Howell in sixth, seventh Rob Walker, and the rest of the field will follow through as well. But Sam Winter with a brilliant win there, winning by 1.85 seconds to Rob Prince. It's race number 19 and the Junior Max third heat. Their final heat of the day, and indeed the final heat of the day. Michael Goodburn will start us off on pole position with Oakley Pryor. Very tough opponent indeed alongside him on row 1. Harry Rice and Bradley Watts make up row 2 with Sophie Jeffrey and James Laby on row 3. Let's see how they go as they go across the line now to begin the race. Michael Goodburn has the inside line and he will try and hold the advantage, but already Oakley Pryor finds his way up the inside, cuts to the inside and clinically into the lead. Already the Wessex champion, and so far the champion throughout today as well, has been very good in both of the races so far. Only narrowly missing out on the win in Heat 2 to Harry Wilson Brown, despite all the progress that he made. Wilson Brown still looking a bit nervous towards the end of the race. Nevertheless, regarding the massive margin which he was holding at the time. But Does look good for Oakley Pryor, who is in an early race lead here. It's not very often Oakley Pryor surrenders race leads. He's got second place of Harry Wilson-Brown in behind though, and Michael Goodburn in third, who's dropped another position, having to give that up to Wilson-Brown, who has been Pryor's closest competitor throughout the day, and is the only driver apart from himself who has claimed a race win in Heat 3. Who will it be? Oakley Pryor currently holds that advantage as he makes his way around the S's and onto the Sturmey Straight for the third time. Sophie Jeffrey currently holds fourth place, a little bit further back, only 1.4 seconds already in these early stages though. Could that be enough to keep her at bay from the top three throughout the entirety of this race, as Tiernan Rourke goes up the inside and takes yet another position, this time ahead of Sophie Jeffrey, and into fourth for the first time in this race as Brandy Watts up into sixth, and Harvey Thornley in seventh. Eighth, Aidan Lee. Ninth, Harry Rice, and James Laby rounds out the top 10 as things stand. Pryor followed by Wilson-Brown though, and Wilson-Brown seems to have really sorted his cart out, because he is in second place and actually closing in on Oakley Pryor on that previous lap. Not something you can say very often about Oakley Pryor being caught up on, but Wilson-Brown is a very capable driver and he's showing that here. Pryor maybe could come under a little bit of pressure in a couple of laps time from Wilson-Brown, who's managed to pull himself away from Michael Goodburn in third, who's trying to perhaps regain his position, but may have to settle for third for now. Might have to be careful not to be killed up by Tiernan Rourke. He's a quick driver at the moment. The number 56, who's in fourth place, and will be looking to close that gap in the final 5 minutes of heats here. Round Billy's and into the S's once more. Down the Sturmey Straight goes the battle for the lead. Pryor followed by Wilson-Brown around the right-hand hairpin, and seems to be closing in, doesn't he, Wilson-Brown, as they make their way around the horseshoe, and into around Buttons, around the top end and onto the pit straight they go once more. Both drivers ducking their heads, trying to get the ideal aerodynamics that they can. The best solution to do that, they think, is to move their helmets out of the wind, is reduced air resistance, I suppose. Both drivers absolutely giving it their all in the final heat of the day. Whoever comes out on top here, it might decide the pole position later on, but I can't quite remember where Harry Wilson-Brown finished in heat number 1. If he finished second, then indeed this is the battle for pole. Pryor does still lead this battle at the moment. Wilson-Brown just tucked in behind, and Michael Goodburn still being left slightly further behind. He's still losing time on the top two, not quite able to match the pace which those two have. Tiernan Rourke is in fourth place ahead of Bradley Watt. Those two having a good battle there. Bradley Watt seems to have found some paces. He's managed to get past Tiernan Rourke now and is up into fourth place. And will he be able to challenge Michael Goodburn come the end of this one? But Tiernan Rourke goes back up the inside and into the S's. He is back into fourth now, and Bradley Watts has to surrender that position. And given that he is fifth again for now, but will he be able to make an opportunity in the next corner? Tries to go up the inside, but can't do so there. Nearly sideswiped Rourke there, but fortunately didn't. That wouldn't be good for either driver as the outcome for that one. Right, across the line comes third place Goodburn. Then the battle for fourth. Goodburn, Rourke and Watts. Sorry. Oakley Pryor across the line. Wilson Brown in second, losing a bit of time. Maybe this race for the win is beginning to come to a conclusion. Wilson Brown just starting to pull away from Wilson Brown a little bit by little bit. Oakley Pryor ever efficient, and let's see if he can now really make the most of the advantage which he holds at the moment. Just to confirm to those of you on the stream, there will be a lunch break and then it will be 2:45. That is 2:45, 2:45, where we will resume racing with the finals. There's going to be no B final either, so it's going to go straight to Honda and Miami Cadet finals, race number 20, which will get underway at 2:45. You won't want to miss it. They're 10 minutes finals plus a lap, so definitely worth a watch, I would say, especially that Honda and Miami Cadet final, and indeed the Senior Max final. Worth watching at 2:45. Tuning back in once again. Thank you for tuning into the stream. Really appreciate it. The club appreciates it as well, being engaged with all that Pigeon Kart Club has to offer on this race meeting. It's been a good meeting so far. Hope to create some really good races in the finals later on. But thanks once again for tuning in and listening to me and keeping up to date with the live timings. Timer has gone over 8 minutes now, meaning the next lap will be the final one. Oakley Pryor will come across the line to begin his final lap. No, he's only got half a mile to go until yet another race victory. And Harry Wilson Brown in second place has just dropped off slightly over the last couple of laps. Maybe saw Pryor escaping and let his head down ever so slightly. Maybe lacking a bit of the motivation which he perhaps needed to really push on, but he seemed to have the pace at the start of the race, but just couldn't quite keep that going. But as they come across the line, then it is the checkered flag and another win for Oakley Pryor, who shows us what he's made of and surely will take another pole position in the final later on today in the final race of the day, race number 25. Harry Wilson Brown comes across the line in second. Third belongs to Michael Goodburn and Jem Hepworth in fourth. Fifth, Bradley Watt. Sixth, Tiernan Raw. Seventh, Aidan Lee with Sophie Jeffrey in eighth. Ninth, James Laby and Harvey Thornley in 10th. Highest place novice goes to Jos Lockett in 13th position. That's a race which wasn't to be, really, with the top two, Pryor and Wilson Brown. And despite Hepworth, Watts and Rourke having a bit of a squabble and a decent little battle for fourth place, the battle at the front didn't quite happen. Pryor able to just squeeze himself away from Wilson Brown, meaning that he could bring out yet another win, and Pryor now will start, probably, I would assume so, despite any penalties or anything that might have been picked up, but provisionally at least will start on the pole position for the final later on, and that does conclude the heats for the day, and indeed the heats for the first half of the season. So now we look forward to the finals this afternoon, of which we will be starting with the Honda and Miami Cadet finals. We are back then, and we are getting ready to race with the first final of 6 today. It is the Honda and Miami Cadets final. It's Ollie Tyler who starts on pole alongside Oliver Makepeace, Whittington Couch and Charlie Vaughan are on row 2. Let's see how this one goes after the formation lap, which they'll be going around one more time before we have what I believe will be 10 minutes to enjoy the Honda and Miami Cadet final. But as I mentioned, Ollie Tyler is on pole, having acclaimed 86 points throughout the day. Oliver Makepeace alongside Joshua Whittington Couch in 3rd, alongside Charlie Vaughan. Jake Maynard starts on row 3 alongside Cameron Ross, with Archie Brown and George Walker on row 4, Alex Preston and Ewan Sharman on row 5. Thomas Kukuru Yearman starts alongside Hugh Moulton in 11th and 12th, with Jed Murphy and Harry James 13th, 14th. Nikai Sin, Mason Perrin, Ollie Stevens, Holly Woolley, Kieran Roberts and Alistair Cresswell round out the top 20 on the grid. It's all still to play for in the Miami and Honda Cadet final, So hopefully this time we should get away, and across the line they go. And we have 10 minutes of Cadet final to enjoy here at round 5 at Clay Pigeon Kart Club. And it's a good start by a couple of the drivers, some dropping several positions as they're pushed out wide on the first corner. But as they make their way round the first series of bends, it is Ollie Tyler who holds an early lead here in the C-plated kart as he goes around the hairpin for the first time. Kart facing backwards there on the entrance to the hairpin, but manages to get going again. Almost 4 abreast as they make their way round the horseshoe and into Buttons for the first time. Very close racing in the middle of the pack, but everyone remains unscathed. Tyler is in the lead then at the end of the first lap with the number 16, Jake Maynard, who had a fantastic 3rd heat. And he's retaining that form as well, going into the lead of the race. But I think Ollie Tyler is going to be able to regain that position. He does indeed. And also, the number 7 follows through, Archie Brown, who obviously had picked up a penalty at some stage in the heat because of his lower grid position start. But now is right back in the running, in the battle for the lead as he's trying to get past Ollie Tyler, but he slips in behind and Jake Maynard manages to make the move, but he might have to surrender that once again. He does indeed, and Archie Brown back into 2nd place, but the top 5 are split by absolutely nothing as they make their way into the top bend and down onto the pit straight for the 2nd time. Here they come once more as Ollie Tyler. Archie Brown's got a good line though, and he's going to try and go up the inside into Billy's blind. Jake Maynard's going to try and follow through, and they touch, but there's no one spins off, but they all manage to remain unscathed. Ollie Tyler back into 2nd place as Jake Maynard has to settle for 5th now, losing 4 positions as a result of that contact. 3 positions, sorry. Archie Brown was already into the lead of the race, so Brown, the number 7, does hold the race lead at the moment, but Ollie Tyler in 2nd has a lot of time to change that, and there's still several drivers in behind him who could stand a chance potentially at also having a go at the current race leader, Archie Brown, who is determined to get away, the number 7. He leads the way with Ollie Tyler in 2nd position. 3rd place is Oliver Makepeace with Kukuru Yearmans in 4th. 5th is Maynard. 6th is Whittington Couch. That is the top 6 at the moment, with Charlie Vaughan trying to latch himself onto the back of that group, but he's still a couple of seconds away from doing so to make their way down to the hairpin for the 4th time. Around the hairpin they go, and now into the sweeping left-handed horseshoe where Archie Brown is leading the way. Ollie Tyler remains in 2nd. No changes in the top 6, I don't believe, this lap, although there could be in the closing stages. They make their way down the pit straight once more. Ollie Tyler in 2nd, but under a bit of pressure from Oliver Makepeace here. Kukuru Yearmans is just about ahead of Whittington Couch. Jake Maynard is in 6th, in behind. And around the S's onto the Sturmey straight. There you go, the top 6 almost inseparable. The Honda and Miami Cadets living up to its much acclaimed, close and exciting racing. This final providing every bit of both of those things as Archie Brown leads the way, but has not got a guaranteed win by any means. None of these drivers guarantee that they're going to finish in any of their positions at the moment. The top 6 are really battling out. Here they come across the line once more, completing their 5th lap. And down towards Billy's they go once again. Archie Brown still holding the lead, but that lead is looking less and less likely to remain as Ollie Tyler's right on his rear bumper. Oliver Makepeace there as well. Ollie Tyler's going to have a look at the inside, but they can't quite do anything about it there. Archie Brown remains gripping onto that lead for at least a couple more corners. Will Ollie Tyler have a response to being shut out by Archie Brown there? We know Brown is particularly good at defensive driving. Ollie Tyler will want to get past him before there's a couple of laps left. Otherwise, Brown will deploy that very effective defensive driving, which he has shown he can pull off very well indeed throughout the day. Charlie Vaughan still trying to keep those karts behind him in that battle for 7th place. But the top 6 is where the racing is really at. Thomas Kukuru-Yaman slightly dropping off the top 6 as he can't quite keep the pace that the top 5 are keeping. He's really trying to remain with the pack, but it's looking more and more difficult to do that as the race goes on. He might be able to rejoin that once again, and Jake Maynard, I think, is having a similar issue in 5th. Just can't quite get that extra bit of pace, which could mean that he could promote him up a position or two. But as Ollie Tyler follows Archie Brown round and down into the Billy once again and into the S's, will there be any changes in the top 5 in the imminent coming laps? We shall see. Just over halfway through the race then, and it's Archie Brown who does still lead the way after 7 laps. They make their way around the top bend and down the pit straight once again. Order remains unchanged from the previous lap. Makepeace still sandwiched in the middle of that 5-kart pack. 2 karts either side of him. One particularly more desirable to overtake than be overtaken by the other. And Ollie Tyler goes up the inside, and Makepeace is going to try and follow through as well. Will there be an opportunity here for him to be able to do that? And Archie Brown is pushed out onto the grass, but it looks like Ollie Tyler's gained the lead, and he has with Oliver Makepeace in 2nd position now, following him through. I think Whittington Couch also managed to take advantage of those 2 overtaking, so looks like Archie Brown has lost a few positions here. He's going to have to deploy some very good racing indeed. Some of the racing in the form he's shown of his hat-trick of victories so far today. Will he be able to replicate that kind of form? He's already trying to get back into 3rd, but can't quite get past Whittington Couch there, who's defending well. Will there be an opportunity for him to try and go up the inside? He's very attacking at the moment. Can't quite do anything there. As Thomas Kukuru-Yaman slightly dropping off the top 6 for certain now. It's looking like it's going to be 1 of 5, but Jake Maynard right behind Archie Brown as well. Will he get an opportunity to improve on his position, or will he have to settle for 5th? Will Ollie Tyler hold on to the race lead, which at the moment he's able to do that, and he was putting a lot of pressure on Archie Brown over a good number of laps, but now he's got a lot of pressure from Oliver Makepeace to deal with as well, as Makepeace in 2nd place is trying to do as much as he can to claim the race lead for himself. I wouldn't say necessarily a frequent winner, Oliver Makepeace, around here, with very strong competition in this class, of course, and he would love to get a victory here, especially to overtake the C-plated Ollie Tyler. Just over 2.5 minutes remain. And the top 5 make their way into the top end. That's how close they are. One of the karts was actually hidden behind the other, but Archie Brown's managed to get past Whittington Couch, and he's back up into 3rd. And will there be a chance for him to catch up to the top 2? Well, not really have to catch up. They're all so close, the 5 of them crammed in together. And around the S's they go now for the 12th time, with 11 laps completed. Nothing to split between the top 5. Fastest lap belongs to Jake Maynard, actually, in 5th place at the moment. So he's holding the fastest lap of the race, but so far hasn't been any higher than 5th during this race. He's going to try and carve an opportunity for himself to move further up the field I'm sure, by the end of this one. As Archie Brown has a look up the inside, is there going to be an opportunity for him to get alongside Oliver Makepeace? Takes a slightly defensive line, but now he's going to try and go up the inside as Archie Brown. And Oliver Makepeace could be in trouble. He's going to surrender positions as well to Maynard and Whittington Couch. So Whittington Couch back up into third, and Maynard for the first time is into the top 4. Has a look up the inside, but can't do anything about that there. And Oliver Makepeace is down into 5th. Makepeace in 5th, but more importantly, Archie Brown now up into 2nd place. That means that he is making his progress through the field, and will there be an opportunity for him to regain the race lead, which Ollie Tyler took very fairly and squarely from him. But now he's going to try and go back up the inside. Billy's blind. He's got the inside line, and is he going to take that position? He does, and he manages to not drift out wide. Got the braking just right. And Ollie Tyler has to settle in behind for 2nd once again. Archie Brown is in the lead of the race. Ollie Tyler is going to go as attacking as he can now, surely, with these latter stages. Just 30 seconds left on the clock. They'll squeeze in another lap after this one. But Archie Brown, at the moment, holds the advantage as they make their way round to complete their 14th lap at the end of this one. Here they come out of the top end now, down towards the start-finish line, and it's Archie Brown who holds the lead ahead of Ollie Tyler with 99. Joshua Whittington Couch in 3rd. There's a car facing the wrong way at Billy's, but they all managed to overtake that without too much of an issue. Brown, followed by Tyler. Whittington Couch is followed by Maynard, who's looked very quick in these later stages here. Ollie Tyler's going to try and cut to the inside. He can't quite do that there. He's going to be a very defensive line by Archie Brown, but trying to go up the inside is Joshua Whittington Couch. Will he be able to make that move? He's still got the outside line, but now going around buttons. Tyler should be able to slot back into 2nd, and he does. The race lead still belongs to Archie Brown then, as they make their way down towards the start-finish line to start the last lap of the race. Last lap time, and it's Archie Brown who does hold it with Ollie Tyler trying to go up the inside. He's going to keep 2nd place though, and Whittington Couch is going to try and go up the inside now. Is he going into the S's? Yes, he is indeed. Ollie Tyler gets put out wide, and Oliver Makepeace also follows through, so Tyler now down into 4th, but Archie Brown, will he be able to hold on to the race lead? Whittington Couch trying to go up the inside, but can't quite do anything there. Archie Brown just about holding on to the race lead for now, but Joshua Whittington Couch in 2nd place. He's got Oliver Makepeace for company in 3rd. But as they go around the last couple of corners, it looks like Archie Brown has done the job in the number 7. But here they come out of the top end in the final corner. Looks like it's going to be Archie Brown, but as they come across the line, who's it going to be for 2nd? Is it going to be Oliver Makepeace or Joshua Whittington Couch? As they come across the line, it's just about Oliver Makepeace who takes 2nd place, right at the death, ahead of Joshua Whittington Couch. But a great win there for the number 7 of Archie Brown, who wins by 0.86 of a second to win all 4 races of the day. Little bit of a stumble halfway through the race, but managed to do very well to hold on right to the end. And Archie Brown takes his 4th consecutive win, as Oliver Makepeace takes 2nd ahead of Joshua Whittington Couch. Ollie Tyler has to settle for 4th, made to work hard, with Jake Maynard settling for 5th, a place which he was familiar with by the end of the race. But a fantastic race with the top 5 there. I hope you all enjoyed that one. A very close run affair with the top 5 drivers out there on the circuit. Thomas Kukuruyi-Mans had to settle for 6th in the end. It ended up finishing over 3.8 seconds behind Jake Maynard in 5th place, of course. Mason Perrin took 7th. 8th was Charlie Vaughan, who dropped off a little bit again in the latter stages of that race, unfortunately for him. Cameron Ross 9th. 10th George Walker. Ewan Charman 11th. 12th Mackay Sin, with Hugh Moulton in 13th, 14th Alex Preston, Jed Murphy in 15th, 16th Harry James, Alistair Cresswell in 17th, 18th Kieran Roberts, Callie Clifford in 19th and the highest place novice kart, and 20th place, rounding out the top 20, Ollie Stevens. Fantastic race there by the Honda and Miami cadets. Close as always. Archie Brown eventually taking a well-deserved, well-fought-for win, as we move on to and look forward to the 177 and the 177 Masters final, race number 21. Here come the 177 and 177 Masters then, ready to get their 10-minute final underway. And we do now get going with them. Sam Winter started on the front row alongside Simon Gover. Sorry, I couldn't read out the grids. Needed a breather after that last one. Very exciting race, and the ever-efficient marshals and stewards got this race underway immediately after that one finished. Credit to them, but brilliant stuff by the Honda Cadets. And the 177 and 177 Masters race here will certainly have a job to live up to the kind of excitement which they provided. At the moment, in the lead of this race, it is Sam Winter, who's been on form today. No arguing with that, as Rob Prince is in second position, having overtaken Simon Gover on the first lap. Samuel Dix is in fourth with fifth place Steve Nash. Sixth is Ian Brown. Seventh, Rob Walker, and the highest place novice with Andrew Crockett in eighth. Ninth, Scott Walker, and Matthew Bowcroft in 10th position. Sam Winter and Rob Prince, first and second. Third position is Simon Gover, Samuel Dix and Steve Nash. No changes in the top 10 at all on that previous lap. But the top two is certainly far from guaranteed. Winter is being followed by Prince, and the only two drivers who have won races today out there on the circuit are the two who are battling for the lead now in the final here. Out of the top end they come, and onto the pit straight once more on their way to complete their third lap. Simon Gover is into third. Samuel Dix and Steve Nash remain fourth and fifth. Our battle for third is looking like it's heating up, as there could be a change here. Looks like Simon Gover is being overtaken. Samuel Dix goes up the inside. He's proved he's got some form out there today as well, the number 26, as the circuit gets hotter in the latter stages of this June meeting here. Winter being followed by Prince as the yellow flag waves for a spinner at Billy's blind. Third place now seems to almost belong to Samuel Dix. There's no one that close to him either side. He's got a gap of a second either way. Over a second, over 2 seconds to find his closest competitor in front of him. Rob Prince, who's still trying to battle for the lead and trying to get the inside here. Sam Winter might be in a little bit of trouble, but manages to fend him off once more. Rob Prince in second place is looking the racier of the top two at the moment. Sam Winter might have to be on some defensive duty or find some pace from somewhere to keep him at bay for what is still a long time left in this race. Steve Nash now in third though, so Samuel Dix out of the running. He was the spinner, and now seemingly out of the running, so didn't quite see that exactly that incident there, but he is out unfortunately, and so 14 drivers remain, and who was in third place and looking fairly settled in that position, now unfortunately out, and Steve Nash is therefore standing on the bottom seat of the podium as things stand. Certainly no bad place to be, and the number 39 will be looking to try and catch up with the top two, as hard a task as that might be, with Sam Winter and Rob Prince several seconds up the road and with some pretty substantial pace. 3.8 seconds at the moment is the gap between themselves and Steve Nash as they go across the line. That will update, and now it's over 4 seconds. And Steve Nash will have his work cut out if he wants to improve on his current position of third. He will be looking very much to keep that and keep his closest competitor Simon Gover in fourth at bay. In fifth place, Andrew Crockett is keeping Robert Walker away from his position. But those three are very close indeed. That's Simon Gover, Andrew Crockett and Rob Walker, 4th, 5th and 6th. Ian Brown in 7th is a small margin back, and all the way down to 10th place. They're not separated by much. It looks very close indeed between Crockett and Walker as they go across the line, and into Billy's might have been a change in position, but Gover being followed now by the number 66, Andrew Crockett, so he does maintain his lead ahead of Rob Walker, but Walker looking very much like he wants to try and overtake at the earliest opportunity. The battle for the lead remains a similar affair. Sam Winter keeping Rob Prince away from him as things stand, but Prince still heaping on the pressure to the number 77, who sooner or later may concede their position here should Rob Prince keep going the way he is. Around the hairpin that goes that battle for the lead, and into the horseshoe now, remaining the same distance between them. Buttons, and into the top end goes that battle, and down the pit straight once more past the commentary box position. Third place Steve Nash is still holding on to that place. No pressure either side really of being applied to or applying himself to another driver, but perhaps that lead that he holds is going to be slightly closed by fourth place. It did say that that lead was opened up, not lead, but third place gap that was opening up on the previous lap, but it does suddenly look a little bit closer. So whether Steve Nash has made a slight error, but Simon Gover does seem a little bit closer now than before, so maybe that will be a change come a few laps time. But Steve Nash perhaps having to worry a little bit about Simon Gover. And Andrew Crockett in behind. Rob Walker also involved in that battle, of course. That's a really close battle with those few drivers. But now there has been a pass, and Gover has been overtaken by Crockett. Crockett up into fourth now, meaning Gover falls, unfortunately for him, down into fifth with just 2 minutes and 45 seconds to go. A few laps left in this one, maybe 5 or so. They come across the line once again. Coming up to 2 minutes left on the clock. No changes in order with the top two, but Andrew Crockett, of course, as I mentioned, has got past Simon Gover. And let's see how that battle is going on. Crockett pulling away, so was the quicker driver. And now is escaping from Simon Gover. And indeed is catching up to Steve Nash, closed in on Steve Nash's margin for third by 0.24 of a second. So while the gap between Winter and Prince remains at a measly 0.16 of a second, the gap that Steve Nash holds for third might also be in a bit of danger here with Andrew Crockett, a quicker driver at the moment, purely on pace on than Simon Gover. Will there be an opportunity for him to get past? Rob Prince still applying pressure to the race leader, but no squandering that lead by Sam Winter, who has a little bit of wobble out of the top bend though. Could that be an opportunity for Rob Prince? It doesn't look like he was quite close enough to take full advantage of it. These two seem so evenly matched though. 1 minute, the gap's being opened up by 0.03 of a second, and then the next minute Rob Prince is closing in by 1/100th of a second, etc. Very close with the top two. Not long left on the clock, and as they go across the line, this confirms that it will be the penultimate lap now. Not long enough for them to go around one more time, so Rob Prince is running out of opportunities to get into the race lead. Take his second win of the day, meaning it will be 2-all in terms of race wins between himself and his competitor at the moment, whom he's trying to get the position off of. Sam Winter in the race lead is has been under continuous pressure throughout the race from Rob Prince. And that pressure continues come the dying embers of this one. Last lap board is out, of course, and now as they make their way down the Stony straight for the final time, will there be any changes in order as Gary Cox gets past Simon Gover, changed for 5th there. It looks like it's going to remain the same elsewhere. Steve Nash has to hold on for a lap to keep Andrew Crockett at bay, but Sam Winter just about keeping Rob Prince behind him at the moment. Will there be any changes coming out of the top bend with the final straight remaining? It's going to be Sam Winter ahead of Rob Prince. He's going to keep him behind as Sam Winter takes his 3rd victory of the day. The checkered flag, 0.18 seconds ahead of a fast Rob Prince, but a Rob Prince who couldn't quite get past the race winner in the end. Steve Nash takes 3rd ahead of Andrew Crockett, who wasn't quite able to close that gap enough to overtake. Gary Cox takes 5th, 6th belongs to Simon Gover, with Rob Walker in 7th, 8th Steve Budd, Ian Brown in 9th, and Matthew Bluecroft takes 10th place. But good race there by the top 2. Rob Prince trying to overtake, but eventually unable to, as Sam Winter takes yet another victory in the number 77, concluding the 177 and the 177 Masters race number 21, and their races for this June meeting with a Sam Winter win. It's the Senior Blue final now, and it's Duncan McLeod who starts on pole, having acclaimed 88 points, I think that says, or 86 points throughout the day. Ian Branfield is alongside him. Kevin Ford and Ryan Edgecombe are on row 2, with Taylor Waldron and Luke Latimer row 3. Ron Schoen, Mitchell McLeod, Anthony Cleland, Hannah McLeod round out the top 10 on the grid. But it's all to play for, with 10 minutes of Senior Blue to enjoy. Front row, Duncan McLeod alongside Ian Branfield, who will win that drag race down as they approach the acceleration line. Now they go over the start-finish line, and we are racing 10 minutes of the Senior Blues to go, and it's the number 7 of Duncan McLeod who gets off to a good start. A kart off, spun around one of the carts, is going across the grass, and if that is a spin once again for Anthony Cleal, then that is 2 consecutive spins in exactly the same place in 2 consecutive races, but it's not. But that would have been very unfortunate. But it's the number 24 who now has some work to do to catch up back with the pack. is unfortunate because Hannah McLeod had a decent grid start, 10th, but fortunately now at the back and has got work to do to catch back up with the field again, unfortunately for her. So the number 7 of Duncan McLeod leads the way with the number 3 of Ian Branfield in second place. That is as the grid was, of course. And Kevin Ford is in third with Ryan Edgecombe in fourth. Fifth is Taylor Waldron with Mitchell McLeod in sixth. Seventh, Luke Latimer. Eighth, Ron Schoen with Anthony Cleal and Jake Drew Culvert. And rounding out the top 10, Drew Culvert gaining 3 on that first lap, by the way. So a good start from him. And also Mitchell McLeod gaining 2 to find himself up into 6th place now. So not a bad start from either of those two drivers. As they come out of the top bend, the top few, and across the line they come once again. Duncan McLeod leading the way. He's had a very good day, arguably been the best out there today in terms of both pace and ability. Has shown what he's worth, and Duncan McLeod once again in charge of a race in the early stages, despite there being a lot of time left. He's got Ian Bramfield for company though, and Kevin Ford is in third. Fourth is Taylor Waldron with 5th Ryan Edgecombe. Number 11, slightly off the track there, Rob Mortimer. He's in a bit of trouble, but manages to regain the race. Was 16th position, but now has lost a couple more. Might be down as far as 19th, but out of the 20 karts who started, 20 still remain, as Rob Mortimer and Hannah McLeod come across the line to confirm that they are 19th and 20th respectively. Duncan McLeod still does lead the way with Ian Branfield in second place, but neither of those karts in any of danger of being overtaken. Number 4 of Kevin Ford is in third, and there's a warning for the number 10, so Mitchell McLeod has got to be slightly cautious with his overtakes from now on. Still in 6th position, made no gains that lap, but was overtaken by Luke Latimer, but also overtook Ryan Edgecombe himself, who had a poor lap and lost 4 positions. So a switch around there for 5th position as Luke Latimer does claim that, but that's a very tight group, isn't it? From 6th downwards. Looks like the top 5 are pretty secure in how they are. They'll need to each close up gaps if they want to improve on their current positions, but Mitchell McLeod is what was leading a battle from 6th downwards, but now that is Anthony Cleal who holds 6th place. He's ahead of Mitchell McLeod, who is in 7th. 8th place is the number 63 of Jake Drew Culvert with Ryan Edgecombe in 9th. 10th is Russell O'Neill, and that battle is still very, very close, and Anthony Cleal looking to try and escape from that pack with Mitchell McLeod in just in behind him there in 7th position, but potentially in with a shout of getting away with Anthony Cleal and catching up with the top 5, who are beginning to really disperse within themselves and also escape from the group, which Anthony Cleal is leading at the moment. Around the S's they go, and it's still Duncan McLeod who holds a healthy lead ahead of Ian Branfield, who has once again had a good day here at Clay Pigeon. Kevin Ford is being followed by Taylor Waldron, who's the highest placed kart with 2 numbers on his number plate instead of the 1. He's got Luke Latimer behind him, but he's more concerned about attacking Kevin Ford. Now he does got the inside, and that's going to be a change for third as Kevin Ford finds himself going backwards. A gain in position for Taylor Waldron as he finds himself into the top 3. Could be an opportunity for Luke Latimer to get past as well, and around the horseshoe he goes, overtaking Kevin Ford, and that's a change for 4th place, and Kevin Ford loses 2 positions in a lap. Never good, but could this grant an opportunity for Anthony Cleal to latch himself onto the back of this pack? Mitchell McLeod hasn't been overly successful in shaking Jake Drew Culvert off of his rear bumper, but Anthony Cleal really could do that and catch up to the pack ahead of him. The order remains the same with the top two, but is there going to be a change for third? Because Taylor Waldron's under a bit of pressure from Luke Latimer here, who has only gained positions from the start. And Latimer now fancying a spot on the podium. Or traditional podium anyway, top three. And now he does dive up the inside, and Taylor Waldron has to surrender that position. Luke Latimer up into third. Taylor Waldron demoted to fourth. Back with Kevin Ford again, who is looking to probably try and get some revenge on Taylor Waldron. Get back up the inside, but Waldron's going to go up the inside of Luke Latimer, and Latimer could be in trouble here. But he manages to close the door on Kevin Ford, so he doesn't lose two positions instead of one. As Hannah McLeod finds herself going pretty slowly around the horseshoe. Luke Latimer trying to regain that position off Taylor Waldron, but Waldron retains third for now. Across the line goes Duncan McLeod with Ian Branfield in second. Luke Latimer is in fourth, behind Taylor Waldron, of course, but ahead of Kevin Ford and Anthony Cleal. That gap has very much turned into a four-way battle as Anthony Cleal in seventh looks to try and improve on his own position. He's already up into sixth. He's got past Kevin Ford, and now he's got Luke Latimer in his sights. And then just one ahead of him is the number 64 of Taylor Waldron, who has proved a nuisance for Luke Latimer today in this race particularly. Out to the top end they come. The top two look pretty secure in their positions, but third is still all the way up for grabs as Luke Latimer goes up the inside, but he will have the outside for Billy's. Could there be an opportunity for Anthony Cleal to get past? No, there isn't, but they're squeezing in. Nearly go side by side, but decide against it pretty wisely, going into the S's and down into the Sturmey straight and round this sweeping right-hander of the hairpin, and it looks like it's going to be a position gain for Luke Latimer, and Anthony Cleal follows through, so Taylor Waldron loses a couple of positions. That's a change for third and fourth as Taylor Waldron loses both of those positions. Anthony Cleal up into fourth, and Latimer holding on to that third at the moment, but Anthony Cleal will be looking to try and take that third as soon as he possibly can. He's going to try and follow him round as closely as he can, as of course Duncan McLeod still leads Ian Branfield in second, don't forget. With 1 minute and 40 seconds left on the clock, it looks like those two are going to be able to retain those positions. I can't see anyone putting either of those two under threat. But Latimer holding on to third at the moment. The battle for third is certainly the one to watch as Anthony Cleal closes in on a third place. Will he be able to get to the back and overtake Luke Latimer in the closing stages of this race? Here he comes now. Will he have a look up the inside? He does have a look up the inside, but can't quite commit to it, and has to remain in fourth for another couple of corners. Luke Latimer holding on to third just about as things stand. Anthony Cleal in fourth. Fifth is Taylor Waldron with Kevin Ford in sixth place. This has enabled a few other drivers to latch onto this group as well. Mitchell McLeod, Rachel Culbert and Ryan Edgecombe looking for a piece of the action, but whether they'll have long enough to get involved and overtake anybody remains to be seen, with just under 40 seconds left on the clock. Not long left to go. Down the pit straight they go once more and commits to the inside of the straight. And Anthony Cleal does take third. He's up into third, his highest place, highest position, sorry, I should say, in the race so far. Into third, and you struggle to see how Luke Latimer will get back into this. He's been quicker for a number of, but Duncan McLeod's going slow. Duncan McLeod, the number 7, he's having to pull off, and from the race lead, he's had a problem with the kart, and out of nowhere has to pull off onto the grass, and it seems like his race is over. Very unfortunate stuff, and you have to feel for him, especially when someone's leading a race and they're doing so empathically and so without seemingly any troubles. But disappointed, he throws his gloves back in the kart as it's a second spin of the race for Rob Mortimer, but very disappointing for Duncan McLeod and out of the race. It means that Ian Branfield takes the lead and Anthony Cleal is promoted to second. But seeing the last lap board now, Ian Branfield, he's just had to hold on to that second and hope for something to happen to the race leader, and it did. And now Ian Branfield is really very likely to go on and take a win, and what I believe will be his first win of the day, as Anthony Cleal in second place, still fending off Luke Latimer, but you suspect he will be able to take it home without Latimer getting a bite of that second place. But now he is going to try and commit to the inside though, and he's going to go up the inside. Anthony Cleal might have to concede that position. He does indeed. So just as I was saying, that commentator's curse and all that, but Anthony Cleal does concede that position. It's a win for Ian Branfield, who beats just about Luke Latimer to the line. Anthony Cleal comes across the line side by side with him, but 1/100th of a second behind, and Luke Latimer takes second then ahead of Cleal. Taylor Waldron for 5th, Kevin Ford 6th, Mitchell McLeod with Jake Drew Colbert in 7th, 8th Ryan Edgecombe, 9th Ron Schoen, and Robert Dudley will take 10th place. But the number 3 of Ian Branfield takes the race win ahead of Luke Latimer by 2.7 seconds. They finished alongside Latimer and Cleal for 2nd and 3rd, but really the big loser here, Duncan McLeod, unfortunately, from the race lead. His kart slowed and he pulls off onto the grass. Disappointing end to a day for what was a otherwise very successful day of racing for the number 7. That does conclude the Formula Blue and the first half of the finals this afternoon. Minimax final now, and it's Sebastian Marlow who starts on pole, having won 2 races so far today. James Watson starts alongside him. Charlie Knight and Jack Finch on row 2. Sean Cuss and Jake Adams make up the top 6. Let's see who wins a drag race with 10 minutes of Minimax going down. It looks like it is Sebastian Marlow who's got off to a decent start, the number 97, but has he managed to retain the lead? No, he hasn't. He's actually lost 2 positions and is down into 3rd. Well, who saw that one coming? But Sebastian Marlow having to concede a couple of positions off the start line there, and James Watson from 2nd on the grid finds himself in an early race lead, all to play for in this race. Marlow has been the quickest driver out there today, but now in 3rd place. Will he struggle to overtake the 2 who beat him off the start line? That drag race very much won by James Watson. Jack Finch in 2nd. It brings back memories of heat number 1, where it was Watson versus Finch, with Marlow only coming onto the scene in the latter stages of the race. And the top 3 make their way down the pit straight and across the start-finish line to complete their 2nd lap now. James Watson is being followed by Jack Finch, and Jack Finch, who hasn't really been seen so much in the top few cards since Heat 1, is doing well for himself once again and up into second position, trying to fend off favourite and pole sitter Sebastian Marlowe. Both Watson and Finch will be pleased with how the start of this race has gone. Top 3 drivers throughout the day, you could argue. Charlie Knight's also been on the scene, and he's in 4th position now. Meanwhile, Sean Cuss has overtaken Jake Adams. That's a change for 5th. But no changes within the top 4. The top 3 have started to make their own group and separate themselves out from that battle for 4th, which is heating up nicely. 43 of Charlie Knight might be under some pressure from Sean Cuss and Jake Adams within a few laps, but the battle for the lead is still very much full of tension. And who will take it out of the 3 of them could turn into a really exciting race in a lap or two's time. Should one of them commit to a move, it could create a very much unleash a whirl of passing manoeuvres. But there are no changes this time going into Billy's blind, as Sebastian Marlowe still has to settle for 3rd for now. Has a little peek up the inside, but can't commit to anything there. Around the hairpin they go once more. And into the horseshoe. No changes in the top 3, as there haven't been since lap 1. This is how things were at the end of the first lap, and is how things have remained. Not much has changed in terms of distance or position. A few announcements being made over the speakers of the circuit. But not a huge amount going on in the circuit, but there could be an opportunity here for Sebastian Marlowe to go up the inside. He does indeed. And Sebastian Marlowe looks like he's improved on his position and has got himself into 2nd place. It's been quite a while for any of the drivers to make any passing manoeuvres in terms of the top 3, but now that is done, and Sebastian Marlowe gets ahead of Jack Finch for what was pretty much the first time in the race. He started ahead of him, but Finch got him off the start line. Marlowe back in front once again. And Finch is going to have his work cut out to improve on 3rd. That's for sure, as the battle for 4th remains pretty similar. Sean Cuss sandwiched in between Charlie Knight and Jake Adams. Around the sweeping top bend, fast corner, and down, hit straight into Billy's blind, go the top 3, and a very similar group of carts in terms of how far apart they are from one another and how many carts there are. 4th, 5th and 6th follows the top 3 a couple seconds down the road. At the moment in charge of that battle still Charlie Knight, but Sean Cuss and Jake Adams still continue to watch the number 43's moves closely, as James Watson holds on to the race lead ahead of Sebastian Marlowe, and number 48 of Jack Finch in 3rd position is trying to do his best to get back up into the top 2. That is a task easier said than done. top 3 as you were. No changes there, but will there be a change in the battle for 4th as Sean Cuss has a look up the inside? But now there's going to be an opportunity, is there, as Watson manages to remain in the lead of the race, but Marlowe caught off guard as Finch goes up the inside and goes up the inside of Watson as well. Where on earth did that come from, Jack Finch? He does drift out wide and Watson manages to regain that position, but Jack Finch was feeling particularly optimistic then as he went up the inside of both drivers in just a succession of 2 corners and got up into the race lead very, very briefly, but Watson regains that position. But that is a change for 2nd, and Finch now in 2nd position has to try and keep Marlowe at bay, but also attack the race leader, James Watson, who is holding that lead and has done for a number of laps now, pretty much from the start. Just the first corner was basically the only time in which he wasn't in the race lead, and with just over 2 minutes to go, still a few laps left for Finch to try and get past the race leader, and also Marlowe to replicate that as well and try and improve on his current position of 3rd. I don't think he's finished any lower than 3rd today. He's certainly finished higher, and he'll be looking to replicate the latter form once again as we approach the final few laps here at sunny Clay Pigeon, where it is beginning to warm up and getting pretty nice out there. Out of the top end comes the battle for the top 3 and make their way down towards the start-finish line once again. James Watson leading that battle as he has done for so many laps now, 14 sorry to be exact, as we tick down to the last minute. Another opportunity for Jack Finch there, but Watson with good defensive driving keeping him at bay. Have there been a change? Has Sean Cuss got past Charlie Knight as a change for 4th place? I didn't see that manoeuvre happen. Quite focused on the top 3, but Sean Cuss has found himself up into 4th, so Charlie Knight down into 5th and under a little bit of pressure from Jake Adams. So he could end up as low as 6th if he doesn't really keep his guard up and find perhaps that little bit of pace. In terms of the fastest driver, that is Jack Finch. He's had a blinder of a race this time, and he's looking to try and continue that, hopefully for him, with a race win as they make their way past a back marker who's going to get some blue flags now. To be fair, I don't think he was showing the blue flags before, but does get out of the way, and no issues caused in the battle for the top 3 as a result of the back marker now, with how many seconds left on the clock? 5 seconds. I think they'll get across the line just before the last lap. They will indeed, so it gets across the line, but Finch goes up the inside and Watson's pushed out wide. Marlowe's also going to take that position. Surely he's going to have to give in, and Watson does wisely. Doesn't try and follow that through, but it is the last lap coming up next. So this is still a couple of laps left in this, and Finch is now in the race lead. Going to be an opportunity for Marlowe perhaps to take a race win unexpectedly given a couple of laps ago, but at the moment Finch holds that advantage and Jack Finch leads for the first time of any sizable time at all, really, for the first time in this race. And Finch leads from Marlowe. 3rd is Watson now. It's all changed with the top 3 as we are now on the last lap. But going up the inside, Watson, and Marlowe's back down into 3rd, but it's looking good for Jack Finch to surely go on and take the win here. Around the hairpin they go and heading towards the horseshoe for the final time. Looks like it is going to be the number 48 of Jack Finch, who's going to just about be able to hold on to it. The battle for 2nd still is very much in the balance as James Watson's just about holding on to it. Drift out wide, there was a spinner there, and as they come across the line, it's going to be Jack Finch who takes the win, punches the air with excitement, and James Watson takes 2nd ahead of Sebastian Marlowe, who takes 3rd. There was a spinning back marker there that could have caused absolute chaos at the top end, but fortunately no such issues occurred, and all 3 drivers racing at the front and battling for the lead do manage to get past unscathed, but it is a win for Jack Finch. As far as I can recall, his first win in a final here at Clay Pigeon in the championship round, and a fantastic win it was too, beating Marlowe and Watson, two very capable, fast young drivers to the line, and they make their way across the line to complete race number 23. The next up, though, is the big one. It's the Senior Max final with 32 racers on the grid. The front row is Jack Mail on pole alongside Charlie Turner, Philip Hayworth, Robert Guilford, James Moorcroft, Cole Edwards, Colin Davis, Thomas Martin, Oliver Holden, Kieran Gifford round out the top 10 in what is going to be the biggest final in terms of grid size today. How will it live up to in terms of the anticipation with the excitement expected in this race? Jack Mail on the front row. Charlie Turner's won a race today. James Moorcroft's won a race today. It's been very, very close affair in the Senior Max, and we expect a very close run thing here as we will get underway with 10 minutes of Senior Max to enjoy. All 32 drivers heading down towards Billy's Blind for the first time, and they all get involved, but there's a massive incident at the back there. Luckily not high speed as they were all in the braking zone, but a couple of cars facing the wrong way in the rear of the field all managed to get underway though. In the early stages, it looks like it's been a good getaway for pole sitter Jack Mail, who is in the lead and remains in there from pole position, holding on to that position out of the top bend. They come on their way to completing the first lap. It is going to be Mail who takes an early race lead going across the line for the first time. It's Charlie Turner who leads away, yellow flags waving for that incident down at Billy's, gaining 10 positions by the way. Alex Tyler now in 20th, started in 30th position. Pretty mental. Those numbers are even being said. Philip Hayworth is in 6th place, having got past Kieran Gifford, but that's the only change in terms of the top 10 after one lap, which is pretty surprising. But it is a very close class, so you can see just how close they are together as they make their way out of the top end and down towards the start-finish line. Once again, here they come, yellow flag still waving in that sector, so no overtaking at Billy's. But as they make their way around and into the S's once more, it's Jack Mail who does still lead the way. Charlie Turner in second, third is Robert Guilford with Cole Edwards 4th, 5th is Philip Hayworth, Kieran Gifford in 6th, 7th is Thomas Martin, James Moorcroft 8th, 9th is Ethan Haynes, Luke Oliver in 10th. But there's absolutely nothing to separate those drivers as they make their way into the top end and down towards the start-finish line. Once again, new race leader though is Charlie Turner. He's got past Jack Mail and down into Billy's they go. There's been some pretty similar laps, but now going back up the inside goes Mail, and there is a change for the lead once again. There's a flag out for the number 27. Can't quite see. I don't think they're actually on my screen, number 27. A little bit too far down the order. I can only see the top 24, but does unfortunately have to go into the pit lane to sort out something. Rear bumper for the number 27, but as they come out of the top end, the top 10, and realistically anyone from first down to as far as 13th or so could still take this one at the moment. It's all to play for as Charlie Turner's once again got himself into the lead in the number 5, as the number 48 is in second position. That's Robert Guilford, and he's in second ahead of Jack Mail now, who's in the lowest position he's been so far in this race. Third, not too bad at all, but might lose out here to Philip Hayworth, the number 66, who's having a look up the inside, but won't be able to hold that position as going into Buttons is the right-hander, and that does play into Mail's favour. top two trying to escape from the rest of the pack. That is Turner and the number 48, sorry, Guilford. Just momentarily had to look at the screen there, reaffirming that, but so close at the front of the pack. This is what karting is all about, as the number 5, Charlie Turner, leads that pack down the Sturmey Straight and into the hairpin for the 6th time in this one. Here he goes once again around buttons and heading towards the top end, where the exit is so essential to get as much momentum as you possibly can to hurtle down the pit straight and try and keep your opponents at bay, especially if you're the race leader. Trying to keep them at bay is all that matters, as Robert Guilford remains in 2nd place. Mail in 3rd, 4th is Gifford, though he's got past Philip Hayworth, who drops to 5th for now, the number 66. We know how capable a driver he is, though, with Cole Edwards, the number 11, in 6th place. And any of these drivers still, you see the collection of names, and you think any of these drivers has the capabilities, the talent, the pace to go on and win this one. But there's so many of them crammed into the same class. It's anyone's game still, with a lot of time to go, and the field still hasn't really separated as they make their way down the pit straight once more. No changes within the top few, but there is Thomas Martin, who goes out slightly wide, wearing that Wessex champion plate, of course, but now drifts out wide. Hasn't had the best day so far, Thomas Martin. I'm sure he'll be the first to admit that. And loses a couple of positions there as well, but Charlie Turner is still in charge of this race, ahead of Robert Guilford, who leads Jack Mail and Kieran Gifford, with Philip Hayworth in 5th, Cole Edwards in 6th. Those top 6 are starting to separate themselves out from 7th place. Luke Oliver in the number 78, with James Moorcroft in 8th, who gained a position there as a result of Thomas Martin going wide, but it's 2 abreast, almost 2 by 2 going into the S's. This changes. It's losing out is Charlie Turner, losing a couple of positions, but it's the number 60 of Jack Mail from pole who starts getting back. He's back into the lead of the race, is what I meant to say, but Cole Edwards being pushed out ever so slightly wide there. James Moorcroft making progress up the field. He's now trying to find himself into the top 6 for the first time in this one. Jack Mail in the lead of the race. It's the number 57 of Kieran Gifford, who's in 2nd. Charlie Turner down into 3rd now. Philip Hayworth 4th. 5th is Robert Guilford. James Moorcroft 6th. Cole Edwards 7th. Luke Oliver in 8th place. But there's absolutely no way you can talk about, well, I can talk about everything that's going on the circuit. There's absolutely manic out there, but good, clean, close racing, which is what we like to see from the senior Macs out here, who have got so much interest in the class right now. It's really good to see, and to see this kind of racing as well from the talent that is out there is always fantastic for not only the entertainment out there on the circuit, but the club, and for the drivers themselves, who want to come back and get raring to go again next month. But this month is certainly supplying some pretty fantastic racing out there, as Jack Mail still remains in the lead of the race, with Kieran Gifford in 2nd position. Charlie Turner is in 3rd. 4th place, Philip Hayworth is keeping off Robert Gifford, but they're still so close, all of the drivers. 67, Gabriel Abbott has got a warning. He's in 17th position at the moment. Mail leads the way with the number 57 of Kieran Gifford. Still in 2nd place is Turner, Hayworth, Gifford, and they're all still going around at pretty much the same distance between them as there has been throughout the rest of the race so far. It's so close as they make their way down towards the hairpin once again. Completely lost track of time. There's 3 minutes remaining on the clock, just over 3 minutes, and it's all changed again as Mail has lost a few positions, and it's for the first time it's Kieran Gifford who leads this race. Charlie Turner is in 2nd place. Once again, he gains another position, and Philip Hayworth is up into 3rd. A little bit of a gap then separating themselves and Jack Mail, but it's far from over yet as Turner goes up the inside. Hayworth's going to try and go up the inside, but he's going to regain that position. Is Gifford, and he's going to try and regain that position. Does Philip Hayworth, and Hayworth up into 2nd place now. Kieran Gifford is the race leader, though, with just over, how much time is left? Just, well, 2.5 minutes left on the clock. It is Gifford who leads the way. Philip Hayworth is 2nd, but there's an incident. James Moorcroft involved with a driver, as the number 78, Luke Oliver, unfortunately finds himself facing towards the wall. Unfortunately out of the running. That's an incident in towards the middle of the pack there. Mail's going to try on the inside of Turner, but they both go out wide, and that gives an opportunity for Gifford to go back on through into the top 3. So the number 48 of Robert Guilford is gifted that third place as a result of those two drivers going wide. That's Mail on Turner. But the top two now, perhaps it's going to be one of these two who will finally provide some clarity as to who's going to go on and win this race, with the top two coming out of the top end now. Here they come towards the start-finish line. An absolutely fantastic spectacle we're seeing here at Clay Pigeon Kart Club. Philip Hayworth closing in on Gifford, who's leading the way by just 0.2 of a second at the moment. Also, the number 60 has got a warning, just to give you that. That's Jack Mail, who's currently in 4th position. They're so close at the front, so close everywhere, and Mail's trying to go the inside now of the number 48. That's Guilford, who has to concede that position, but Gifford, not to be confused. Those two, Gifford in the race lead, and ahead of Philip Hayworth. Once again, here they come across the line. How long is left? A minute is left on the clock, so still this lap and perhaps another before the final lap of the race as they come out of the S's and onto the Sturmey straight once more. The field finally starting to disperse after only 9 minutes of racing happening, which is ridiculous for kart racing. It's been such a close run affair, and it's still Gifford who holds that race lead. It's Philip Hayworth who maintains his campaign in 2nd place, with Jack Mail in 3rd, Robert Guilford in 4th. 5th is Charlie Turner as things stand, but now there's been a change and it looks like Turner's found himself up into 4th place. Now that is indeed a change as Guilford loses a couple of positions down into 6th now. It still is the top 6 who remain pretty well, very close together indeed, and the only gap maybe Hayworth back to Jack Mail, which is for 2nd place there. But the top 2 still nothing to change, well, nothing to divide them. Gifford in the race lead, and as they will come across the line now, they'll come across the line with over 10 minutes gone in. This will be the last lap now. It is the last lap being shown. It's Gifford who leads from Hayworth, Mail, Turner, Haynes, Guilford, Edwards, Davis, Martin and Shepherd round out the top 10 as things stand, and as they go down and around the hairpin for the final time, who will come out on top? It looks like it's going to be Gifford, just about holding on to that at the moment, but Philip Hayworth is just in behind the number 60 of Jack Mail from the start. It's never nice to go backwards, but in 3rd and not too bad at all. But it looks like it's going to be a good win here for the number 57 who takes the win, and Kieran Gifford wins ahead of Philip Hayworth by 0.28 of a second. Jack Mail takes 3rd, 4th goes to Charlie Turner, who might be disappointed that he didn't capitalise on the race lead which he was holding for a decent period of time earlier in the race. Ethan Haynes takes 5th, 6th belongs to Robert Guilford, Cole Edwards is 7th, 8th Colin Davis, Thomas Martin is 9th in the end after a relatively disappointing race for the WC plated kart. Dominic Shepherd takes 10th, 11th goes to Oliver Holden, 12th James Moorcroft with David Wright in 13th, 14th Darren Yeo with Gabriel Abbott in 15th, 16th Harriet Stiles, 17th Alex Tyler, 18th Jordan Brightman West, 19th Benjamin Gilbert, and 20th Adam Leray. But a very close run thing once again with the Senior Max. That was one to not blink for, wasn't it? Watching absolutely all the action. I have a very dry throat, and that was a brilliant race. approaching the last race of the day now. And it's sure to be a good one. 17 drivers out there on the grid. It's Oakley Pryor who starts alongside Harry Wilson-Brown on the front row. Jem Hepworth and Tiernan Rourke are on row 2. Let's see how the final race of the day and the Junior Max treat us too in terms of the racing out there on the field. And there's a big incident, a kart on top of another one, mounted on the front bumper there. And another kart was also involved in that incident, this sky blue one, which is escaping now and trying to rejoin the rest of the pack. But both of the drivers look to have sorted themselves out, but there's a very loose front bumper, nose from one of the drivers who will surely have to retire. The number 90, don't think they can continue like that. That's Sophie Jeffrey, hasn't had the luck of the draw there with the junior Rotax. It's a warning for the number 33. That is Aidan Lee, who gets a warning as a result of that first corner incident. Number 34, maybe with a little bit of trouble as well, also involved in that incident earlier on, Jensen Davis. But in a junior TKM, of course the junior TKM and the junior max don't intervene in each other's championship points. The 3 junior TKM out there on the circuit. Cameron Gom currently leading that battle in the novice for the junior TKM. So a novice winning a race, which is not too bad at all out of the 3 drivers out there. Jensen Davis and Moan Francis Jones are just following in behind. But in terms of the junior max race, Oakley Pryor is leading the way. Unsurprisingly, you would say, the Wessex champion from last month. And that's not the only time he's been a champion of something. Oakley Pryor, he's in the lead this time though, and Harry Wilson-Brown, who offered a fairly large amount of pressure on the last race, but couldn't quite maintain it. Now, will this be his opportunity in the last bout of racing for the day for him to get a one-up on Oakley Pryor and take the win and make it 2-all in terms of race wins? But really, to have the win in the final is worth a good few wins in heats, you would say. It's always the big one, and well, the last race certainly proved how big a race that was. Fantastic stuff from the senior max, and let's hope to see more of the same. It's still early stages here in the junior max final with just 2.5 minutes gone. Third placed Jem Hepworth in a bit of a land of her own there. James Laby is in 4th. 5th place Tiernan Rourke, and Bradley Watts is in 6th place. The top 6 divided into 3 triplets. 2 triplets, sorry, obviously, and then split them in half. But the top 2 realistically have got away from Jem Hepworth, who's not really offering much pressure to the top 2, doesn't quite have the pace to match up to the leading pair, but is quite easily clear of James Laby in 4th as things stand. Pryor leads the way coming out of the top end. And across the line, completing his 6th lap now, ahead of the number 26, Harry Wilson-Brown. Those 2 have been at it all day, have been the quickest 2 drivers out there on the circuit, and they are showing that once again here out on the circuit in the final. Throughout the heats, they've been pretty even, albeit Oakley Pryor having that edge, you could argue. As the day draws to a close, will we have Harry Wilson-Brown lifting the first place trophy, or will it be Oakley Pryor? Seems like it's probably going to be one of those 2 unless they take each other out, and then Jem Hepworth will certainly be in the driving seat, quite literally in first place. In fourth place, meanwhile, Tiernan Rourke ahead of Bradley Watts and James Levy. Those three have been pretty evenly matched throughout the day. It's been good for each of those drivers out there. Not quite maybe as high up as they'd like to be, but Michael Goodburn has also offered a good challenge. He's in the number 12, currently sitting in 7th place behind that three-way battle, but also not really offering much to that battle, but also with several seconds clear of Sylvain Vessier in 8th, who, credit to Vessier's team, they managed to get the kart out there and going again after that pretty horrendous, I think it was first heat or maybe second heat incident where it was just whacked coming out of the S's. Credit that they managed to get that kart up and running again for the final. So warning still, I think the only warning out there on the circuit for Aidan Lee in 14th position. No, the drivers have accumulated warnings throughout this race as we tick down to the final 4 minutes of racing for the day. Number 66 of James Levy in behind Tiernan Rourke, with Michael Goodburn in 6th place, 7th Sylvain Vessier, 8th Harvey Thornley. Looks like Bradley Watts is in trouble here, as not come around on this screen, so perhaps is out of the running. Number 90, I'm surprised it hasn't been picked up on. Sophie Jeffries very much pointing left, nose cone, not really, well, not nose cone, sorry, just the nose of the cart. Not exactly straight, but legal, so continues to race. Bradley Watts out of the running, and the only retirement at the moment, I do believe, he hasn't come across the line yet, so I assume he is out, unfortunately, for Watts. Was having a fairly decent race in the battle between Rourke and Levy, but not able to resume that, unfortunately, for him. Could be a bit of a trouble here with the back marker getting in the way of Oakley Pryor, and that could really hand an opportunity to Harry Wilson-Brown to go up the inside, and he does. Oakley Pryor's going to try and regain that move, though, as they go into the S's. He does manage to regain that position, but the number 23 very much nearly threw a spanner in the work there. The junior TKM of Francis Jones really slightly getting in the way of Pryor, and Wilson-Brown couldn't quite get out the way in time, and Pryor had to take evasive action to not crash into the rear bumper of the driver, let alone try and defend that position. Wilson-Brown did get into the lead very briefly, but now it's as you were with Pryor back into the lead, and Wilson-Brown a little wide back, just not quite close enough to make a passing manoeuvre. Fastest lap of the race does belong to him though, Wilson-Brown, so on his fastest lap basis, he really should be challenging the race leader, but Oakley Pryor is a very capable driver, as we've seen throughout the day and this race, and he's not going to give in easily, that's for sure. As the time approaches 4:10, it's going to be an early finish to a very good day as we approach the last 1.5 minutes of racing here for round 5 of the 2017 season. And it's a spin, it's the number 56, Tiernan Rourke, off into barriers, and there's a wheel which is bouncing across the circuit there. Luckily I didn't collect anyone, looks like it's rolled off safely onto the grass, but a big spin and crash for Tiernan Rourke there, unfortunately for him. Luckily it wasn't that high speed contact with the wall, in fact he seemed basically to just touch it on the way. More disappointment than pain, I'm sure, will be the result of that one, but Tiernan Rourke out of the race, unfortunately. That will give James Levy 4th, surely. I don't know how close Levy is to the closest competitor ahead of him. Looks like that will be Jem Hepworth, the number 24, who's in 3rd and has been 3rd for the very much the vast majority of the race. James Levy is in 4th and pretty much securing that position ahead of Michael Goodburn in 5th place. across the line goes Michael Goodburn in 5th, 6th Sylvain Vessia, I believe it is, with Harvey Thornley in 7th, but there is over 5.6 seconds separating Goodburn and Vessia in 5th and 6th. But it looks like the top 5 has pretty much found an order. Wilson Brown nearly got past Pryor with that junior TKM mix up a few laps ago, but couldn't quite hold on to that, and Oakley Pryor did what he does best and recovered the situation to make the race lead his again. It is the last lap board, and the checkered flag will come out, and it will give Oakley Pryor a last lap to enjoy himself before the end of this race. Here comes the checkered flag then, and the race winner, Oakley Pryor. A small finger point there, knows he's done the business out there once again today, and the Wessex champion takes the final win in 2 consecutive months. Oakley Pryor with the win ahead of Harry Wilson Brown. Jem Hepworth takes 3rd ahead of James Laby and Michael Goodburn. No changes in the order there with the final few laps, but certainly some drama in that race was to be seen, no doubt about it. Sylvain Vessia takes 6th ahead of Harvey Thornley, and Bailey Boyson in 8th. 9th, Harry Rice. 10th, Joss Lockett, and Aidan Lee in 11th. 12th goes to Sophie Jeffrey, and the winner for the junior TKM, Jensen Davis, concludes his race 13th on the track. Win for the junior TKM. Francis Jones takes 2nd for the junior TKM. Cameron Gone 3rd. Tynan Rourke and Bradley Watts come in 13th and 14th place for the Junior Max in the final race of the day. Well, thank you once again, everyone, for joining us here at the circuit at Clay Pigeon Kart Club, whether you have been listening here at the circuit or on the live stream. I greatly appreciate it, and for everyone turning up today, thank you for making it a successful meeting. Thanks to all stewards, marshals, officials. Thanks to all spectators, and of course all drivers who went out there on the circuit and provided us some great entertainment, and hopefully you enjoyed yourself as well. My highlight for the day, the Senior Max final. A very, very close run affair with the 32 racers out there in the Senior Max, and it was a very close one. We hope to see more of that in the next meeting. Round 6 of the championship in 2017 will be on the 9th of July next month. I'll be there, and I hope as many of you as possible will be as well, to see more great racing here at Clay Pigeon Kart Club. I have been your commentator for today, Sam Hunt. Please go and like us on Facebook at Clay Pigeon Kart Club, and you can make sure you see all of the live timing on Alpha Timing, or you can check it out on the website. On YouTube, you can type in Clay Pigeon Kart Club to listen to the live stream and catch up on any of the races you want to see. Thank you once again, and I'll see you next month. Take care.